Okay, ding-dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.
Aren't cooey.
Something's different.
I'm changing.
I don't know if I like who I'm becoming.
Boyd, there are a lot of people wanting to know what happened down there.
Mom, where's Dad? Why isn't he back yet?
Tabitha, we need to talk. It means everything they showed us. It's real. I think they're doing it to make us afraid.
Well, then it worked. There is something ancient here. And it's feeding off our suffering, and it doesn't stop.
We're losing. We're running out of time, and we still don't know the goddamn rules. There is no way to fight back against those things. Everything we've done, every sacrifice we've made, none of us are going anywhere.
You think you're some kind of hero? You're a monster.
Lord, please protect us in this dark place where evil roams so freely. This we ask in your name. Amen.
One way or another, the truth always comes out.
I would make sure it doesn't.
And welcome all to the Sunday Night Fromville Hour. And here we are, folks, less than 24 hours off of the release of episode 2. And I must say, there was a lot to dive into. Just like episode 1, episode 2 really had a lot of stuff packed into it. And I'm definitely getting the sense that that's going to be a theme that does continue throughout the remainder of these final 2 seasons. I'm definitely expecting the pace to continue to pick up. But I've been enjoying it. I think the pace has been moving good. I think we're getting not just a good pacing, but actually good plot progression as well. So I was very happy. I thought episode 2 was really fun, set up some very interesting things. Of course, the discovery of Jim's dead body in the barn, which so many of you did call. A lot of you were dead on. A lot of you were thinking that that Jim's body was going to get found in the barn. And that's exactly what we got. And I think the way the show played it was very interesting in terms of, setting up the whole bait and switch, setting up the whole, let's put the bloody sack of animals hanging from the motel sign, let it make everybody think this is where Jim's going to be when, boom, he's really over here. Which, again, a lot of us did see coming, but it was still a nice way for them to kind of handle it for the characters to find out that way. Because it's so interesting. We see Tabitha send Ethan and Julie away to spare them seeing Jim, only for them to be the ones that end up finding Jim. So it's just such a cruel twist of fate that it has to be the kids to find him that way. But overall, I thought the reveal of Jim's death was handled pretty well.
Yeah, it was. I think a lot of people are having issues with Tabby's parenting because, and
There's
I gotta say,
yeah,
I'm kind of
but
seeing
she's
some issues.
grieving too. She's grieving, like she's going through a lot.
She is going through a lot. She's going through a lot, but I think that there's a lot to be said as to how she handles moments of difficulty
Uh-huh.
because she's so upset about losing her husband. But instead of keeping her children closer, like being in the room with Julie and Ethan, holding them, talking to them, um, helping them, you don't have the luxury. Boyd is a perfect example. I love,
Mhm.
I love my Boyd, but
Love Boyd.
you do not have the luxury of suffering, grieving as you would if you are a person that is alone when you're a parent.
When you're a parent.
Unfortunately, life is unfair. And when you are a parent, you don't get that luxury. You have to comfort somebody else, somebody that depends on you, somebody that relies on you. And the way that she handles moments of difficulty is kind of just like getting lost in her grief. She
Yes.
went to remove the sign of knowledge comes with a cost instead of being in the room with her children.
That is such a good point. That is such a good point. And I guess you're right. That is kind of very telling as to how she kind of deals with these things. Instead of being with her kids, she's scrubbing this off the barn. That's a very good observation. And I think we've seen that kind of response from Tabitha throughout the series ever since it first began, where she kind of gets into her grief and kind of everything else becomes secondary. And it seemed like that caused, a lot of the problems that they've had before they got here into Fromville. And we hear even Julie talking a little bit about that, with Jim's case as well. Even when Jim was around, how she said, like, I can't do this again. I can't be the parent again. So it seems like Jim and Tabitha both kind of have a history of kind of retreating, in a sense, and you can see how maybe Julie and Ethan are kind of left to their own every once in a while. And I think that scene was a perfect example of that. I mean, here's Tabitha trying to go out her way to spare her children from seeing Jim, only to inadvertently send them to finding Jim instead of sending them into the house. I would have sent them into the house. I wouldn't have sent them to the barn or anything. I would have been like, go into the house until I come and get you. Don't go to the barn. Don't go anywhere else. Go into the house until I come and get you. But she sends them to the barn. And then unfortunately, the kids have to find Jim. So it was just, a bad twist of fate for Julie and Ethan to have to be the ones to find him.
I mean, it was horrifying. When I saw that, I thought, that is so demonic. I just immediately blamed the man in yellow. And I said, that's so out of pocket for you to have engineered a trap of sorts so that they could look this way. And it seems like that is the entity's ammo. Look this way so it distracts you. Look this way so that you're not looking at the other things, right? So I'm keeping my eye on him. I think that is how he's going to function. It's going to be misdirection, a lot of misdirection. Now, Ethan's monologue when he screams at Tabitha. I thought that was very telling because all he's saying is truth. I mean, children speak truth to power. And he was saying, why didn't my dad come home? What did you do? You probably
That's right. He was asking her, like, what'd you do? You got into you were fighting, weren't you? Yeah.
Exactly.
And I
You
guess
were fighting. What did you do? Why didn't he come home? And he's like, no, I wasn't. No, we weren't. And Julie says, it doesn't matter. She kind of is the adult looking at perspective of, Mom, why are you fighting with Ethan, going back and forth as to if you got into a fight with that or not? It doesn't matter. Like, he's dead. And the fact that Tabitha's like, no, I didn't. We didn't fight. You did. I thought it was a little strange because they technically did fight, right?
I mean, it was. It was something happened. Something definitely happened in those woods. It wasn't some like pleasant conversation, that's for sure. She's revealing to Jim this massive revelation, and that floored him. And even if it's not a fight, it definitely was a interaction where Jim went away from it hurt, wounded, like hurt, emotionally hurt from it. So yeah, it did damage in one way or another. But I thought it's very telling that how Ethan's first response to Tabitha, like the first thing Ethan thinks of is, oh, you guys must have been fighting, because that's what he remembers. That's what he has reference for. All he has reference for is him and his mother constantly fighting. Like someone in the chat was saying it, like at the beginning of the show, Tabitha and Jim were literally on their way to get a divorce. They were going on one final family vacation before they broke the news to the kids that they were getting divorced. So they weren't in a very good spot when they arrived here in Fromville. So you could see how Ethan kind of only has reference of them fighting, not getting along. So instantly, when something happens to his dad and he doesn't come home, his natural instinct is to think, you guys must have been fighting because you're always fighting. And it just gives you a little bit of an insight as to his experience growing up. He must have experienced his parents fighting a lot growing up. And it's really kind of molded how he thinks. But yeah, just a terrifying reveal to have the kids find Jim like that, and then to find Jim in the state that he's in. The man in yellow clearly probably doesn't want to be recognized yet. Probably doesn't want anyone to know that there's something else out there. So instead of just leaving Jim's throat slashed, he goes ahead and kind of tears open Jim's kind of stomach to make it look like it was another one of the monsters that killed him, or maybe gave the body to the monsters and the monsters did that themselves. But we see when he's strung up, the body's all mangled. He's all just completely, done up. So this man in yellow is very calculating in every way in every step of the process, to the point where they're even covering their tracks to make sure nobody knows that this was me that did this. So I think that's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be an interesting theme throughout at least the first half of the season, is for us as the audience and for the characters to try and figure out, okay, when are they going to find out Sophia is really the man in yellow? Because they have to find out at some point. That's not something you can just keep secret indefinitely. At some point, there needs to be some kind of reveal of the man in yellow. So I guess that's going to be a very interesting part, to see, when do we as the audience find out, and when do our characters find out that Sophia isn't really Sophia? And again, I think that goes back to a lot of what we were saying in our episode 1 stream. She's a little off. Sophia's a little off. Like, we see the man in yellow pretending to be human. He's not that good at it. I must say, the man in yellow is not too good at pretending to be human. Sophia's super strange. She sticks out like a sore thumb. So I have to imagine they're going to start recognizing these little red flags that tell them, like, okay, something's off with this one. So I think that's going to be a very fun part of the show to see, okay, when are they going to figure this out? We as the audience know, but when are they going to figure it out?
Exactly. I think you make an excellent point. I laugh every time Sophia is in frame and scene, because now that we're in on the joke, so you get to see her overreact and play along, and manipulate them. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God, Sophia, you are so extra, right? The way that she acts, I got a chance to see more of her acting, right? Because we didn't really get to know Sophia a whole lot, other than the daddy thing that she did at the beginning and how she acted about her dad dying. But now that we got to see her for a couple of other scenes with other people, I kind of got more of a feeling as to how he's playing Sophia and how he's going about Sophia. It seems like he's going into like a nerdy, geeky young girl, like 15-year-old girl, and nerdy, she has like the glasses, and she's like pushing the glasses, like, she's like it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice, a part of them is still here, she's like nerdy, and she keeps like sniffling and pushing her glasses.
The nerdy geeky choir girl is essentially what she is. She's the nerdy geeky choir girl. And it's a very interesting kind of cover to take. I mean, if you are the man in yellow and your goal is to infiltrate the town, to really cause havoc, to mentally manipulate people and stuff like that, I mean, it's a very interesting form that he's chosen to take on. It's one of those forms that is I guess, him looking at this form, he must think, okay, a young girl is probably easily trusted. They'll probably trust me a lot more, and I'll probably be able to maneuver, a little bit more freely with them just thinking I'm a teenage girl. So it is kind of a good cover for him if he was trying to kind of get into the town undetected and create a sympathetic form. Like for
Yeah,
all
let's see, does it
people
work?
know, it
Like,
works. See, it works. It works. It works.
it's kind of nice. A part of them is still stuck here. It was like, I think that the way that she's acting is
Yeah.
the crazy part, because
Mhm.
she goes from being told horrifying things, her dad is dead, and then she's like, it's kind of nice, all this stuff.
Kind of nice, all this
And the
stuff's
next,
here.
it's like, why is it nice? Well, a part of them is always here. Anyway, it's like, you're a little weirdo, but also she has this dowdy dress that she came into from town already wearing. She's
Yeah.
wearing these like penny loafer shoes, socks with them, and
Yeah.
this really big,
She's
very
like
modest.
super short next to Sarah. Sarah's like a giant next to her, so you can tell she's really tiny. Yeah, it's just
So it's somebody you wouldn't look at. I think,
unassuming.
it's somebody you want to protect. You want to protect her because she's like nerdy, and she's
Just
like,
lost her dad.
yeah,
Just
she's
lost her
always
father.
sniffling and
Yeah, you're right. She creates a very sympathetic look where you see this person, and yeah, you feel bad for them. They just lost their father. Maybe their father was the only family they had. Or, oh, actually, we do know she was saying, I need to call my mom. So we know she's got a mom or has a mom. But either way, yes, it's a young girl that you feel bad for. She just lost her father. She's stuck in this nightmarish hellhole. It's a good cover to kind of be unassuming. Yeah, I guess you could say, and cause some chaos. So yeah, I think it's going to be, and yeah, I mean, she was accepted very fast in Fromville, but everybody kind of is when you look at it. I mean, it was a little bit different at the beginning of the show. So you bring up an interesting point, Unicorn. When Jim and Tabitha and the Matthews family first arrived here, well, Jim of course got stuck in the RV the first night he was here, but Tabitha and Julie got lucky enough to get to Colony House, only to get kind of thrown and tied up and kind of locked in a room all night. So you do make a point, actually. I mean, Tabitha and Julie had to go through the whole questioning, the interrogation before they could walk around freely. But yeah, Sophia kind of just slipped on in there, and she's already being trusted. So you actually do bring up a point. Again, Tabitha and Julie did not have it that easy when they first arrived. They were literally tied up and interrogated. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying for sure. For sure. Yeah, the actress playing Sophia is 5'4". Yeah, she looks tiny. She looks very tiny. She does. I mean, she just looks super short, and that just makes the whole form that much funnier, I guess. Like she's just playing this super tiny little, teenage girl that's going to cause all this havoc in town, all this mental manipulation, all of this getting these people to turn against each other. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think for sure. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, it seems like a lot, and it seems like so far a lot of people are enjoying the actress playing Sophia, so that's good. I mean, that is good. It seems like the audience are enjoying her performance so far. I mean, she does have that. She plays that kind of crazy kind of well, I guess you could say. Like when she does do the reveal at the end of episode 1, and she kind of shows us as the audience who she really is. She has that like sadistic glee in her eye with that smile of hers. Like, so yeah, she plays the crazy pretty well, if nothing else.
Yeah. I loved when she was trying on the glasses. She was so cute. I'm loving the actress. I really am loving the actress and the way that she's playing, because I didn't know what direction she was going to go. Was she going to go in this alluring direction of trying to like tempt people to do bad things, or how was she going to play it? And I like that she went into this geeky, like, protect me, I'm so frail sort of way, and I'm such a geeky, like, naive person, right? They really meant naive when they described her character. When she's trying on the glasses, it's so cute. She's like, how do I look, Sarah? How about this one? And she looks like so little, so geeky, so like it makes you want to take care of her. So I could definitely see why it's working for her, because when I saw that and she was trying on the glasses, I thought, oh, she's cute. It makes me want to take care of her. So yeah, she's got it down.
She does. Yeah. It's one of those, and then when you add her backstory to it, it makes her even more sympathetic, knowing that she just lost her father. So yeah, again, the Man in Yellow picked a really good cover to infiltrate the town with. Very good backstory, very good cover. Just works. It really just works. But one thing I thought was very interesting about that scene, when she's choosing the glasses in particular, And let me see if I can find it too, so we can look at it. That scene was very interesting because we see her at one point in the storage room. We see her, and Sophia sees the ballerina. She sees the statue of the ballerina and gasps. Like, go back and watch that scene like really closely. When the man in yellow sees the ballerina, he gasps. She gasps, like, like almost like she's surprised to see it. So that I thought that I clocked that right away. I thought that was super interesting that, and we know the significance of the ballerina. We know the significance it holds within From, and how, what big a part it played in season 2. And then it kind of just disappeared after the music box got smashed. But when I saw that, it told me, okay, what's going on there? Is there some kind of connection between the man in yellow and this ballerina figure? Do these entities know each other? Is there a history there? Because again, go back and watch that scene. You see her look up, and as soon as she sees it, she gasps, almost like she's surprised to see it there. So I thought that was very interesting. What kind of connection, I guess, is there between the man in yellow / Sophia and this ballerina figure? Why did he have that reaction to it? Why did he react that way after seeing it, I guess, is my question. And you get the feeling they put it there for a reason. I mean, they honed in on this ballerina. Like, they made sure we as the audience saw this ballerina. They made sure we saw it. So I have to imagine that is for some kind of significance, and is going to have, we're going to find out exactly why. Maybe we haven't seen the last of the ballerina entity yet.
Yeah. I have a theory about that, and tinfoil, but my theory is that potentially Sophia was a real 15-year-old girl that once upon a time came into From. She was an actual person. And when she came in there, that would look at the people that he has observed and shapeshift into them, right? Because he's not human to begin with. He doesn't have a human form. So he's kind of observing what they look like, what they sound like, and he uses that to transform. So he used this girl out of all the people he's met, and when he looks at the ballerina, he notices, oh, that trinket belongs to this girl, right? And what else is there? Is there going to be any other thing that is going to tell them that Sophia was here in the 1960s or in the 1970s? You know what I mean? Because they have been able to find photographs, remember? They found photographs when Victor was little. What if they find another photo and Sophia is part of those photos? Then you would put 1 and 2 together that this is not.
She was a human that got stuck here at one point. And maybe that's how he chooses all of his forms. Maybe every form that the man in yellow has ever used are all previous residents of Fromville that have died here in some manner. And yeah, maybe he needs something that physically belongs to that person to be able to turn into them. And then maybe that's why he's kept this dress for all those years buried in that suitcase. Oh, I like that. I think that's a really good theory, that this could have potentially belonged to the human Sophia, and he's recognizing it now that he's in her form. I like that. I think that's very interesting. That's definitely possible.
And he's like, these people are keeping items that could get to identify. They could come to identify my forms, right? And then I thought, if that is so, if that theory is correct, that this is a trinket from real life Sophia, older, from the 70s, 50s, 60s, then when Man in Yellow says, it's kind of nice, it's almost like part of them is still here, as long as people don't forget them. I thought that line is very telling, because if it is, he's telling on himself. He likes having fun on his own. So he's saying it's kind of nice. Part of them is stuck here, basically. Like, I'm here. I'm still here.
Freudian slip a bit. Yeah. A little sus. No, I like that. I think that's an interesting theory. Or maybe that was his daughter that he sacrificed. Ooh, that would be pretty gnarly. The ballerina. Oof, that would be gnarly. But yeah, no, I like that. I like the idea that maybe this Sophia form was a previous resident of Fromville, and maybe that ballerina belonged to her. Or maybe the man in yellow has some other kind of connection to this ballerina entity. I feel like it's got to be one of those two things. But I love that. I love those theories. Yeah, but let's know what you guys think. Why do you think the man in yellow or the Sophia in yellow reacted this way when seeing the ballerina? Because again, it's a very deliberate kind of little gasp. She's kind of taken aback when she sees it. But yeah, awesome stuff, guys, and awesome stuff, PM. I like that. That it might have just belonged to her, the human her. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a good one. I think she kind of looked afraid of the ballerina. I mean, that's kind of why I almost like not like afraid, but kind of like taken aback, and that's why I kind of like the theory PM was talking about, that maybe that's why the man in yellow was a little taken aback, because he like recognizes like, holy shit, this belonged to her. Or yeah, there's also a possibility that there's some kind of history there. Maybe there's some kind of history between the man in yellow and this ballerina entity, maybe. But yeah, whatever the case may be, I'm really hoping that we get to dive into this a little bit more. I have to imagine if they were showing us this like so deliberately, we'll probably get something more definitive a little bit down the line as to what the connection is. At least I hope. But yeah, great stuff, guys. Really great stuff. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down now, of course, and throughout the stream, let us know what were some of your favorite parts of episode 2. What were some of your least favorite parts of episode 2? We want to hear from you guys. What did you think? And you as well, PM. Like, what was do you have one standout scene out of everything that we saw in episode 2? Do you have one moment that you enjoyed the most?
I mean, I feel like there was a lot of moments in these in the episode. They're different vibe, okay? Because
Different
there's
vibes.
like my favorite funny moment was, of course, when Acosta looks at Ethan. She's contemplating the fact that she could get out of town. According to her, she's gonna find the solution. She could potentially drive out. So that means that she was okay with leaving him in
Leaving
front.
this
If
poor
she
kid.
genuinely believed they come together in their grief and the fact that they're remembering things and going through this process together, but it came out of left field. Her being so mean
She was
came
harsh.
thoroughly at, yeah.
She was harsh. She was really harsh on Jade. And I get her. I get that she's grieving, and I get her kind of maybe venting a little bit, but it's not fair to put all of this on Jade like it's all his fault. Like, we both did this. This is something we both decided to do. This is my fault as much as it is yours. I wanted you to play that song as much as you wanted to play that song. So that was the thing that I had a problem with, where she's kind of trying to put it all on Jade instead of taking equal responsibility like they should. But then yeah, she goes one step further and just goes a little bit too far with it when she says it should have been you hanging from that rafter. That's a little too much. Poor Jade didn't deserve that. But no, it was a very heavy scene, very emotionally charged scene. I remember seeing it for the first time, and just popping into my head, I'm thinking, shit, Jim's been dead for only a few hours, and they're already fighting like a married couple. Because the fight between Tabitha and Jade here reminded me a lot of Tabitha and Jim's fights. The way she's getting up in his face and super like it looked just like how her and Jim used to fight. So I'm like, here they go. They're already looking like an old married couple fighting. But no, it was definitely a heavy scene, and you can see Tabitha is very much grieving, so you can understand some of it. But yeah, she goes a little too far here in blaming Jade and then wishing he was dead. It reminded me. I kind of got a small chuckle because that one scene popped into my head from Dewey Cox. If anyone's seen the movie Dewey Cox, his brother dies when he's very young, and whenever the father sees him, he's always like, "The wrong kid died," and it became a super funny meme. So I don't know if you saw Dewey Cox, you know what I'm talking about. But it reminded me of that, like she's saying, the wrong one died. But no, it was definitely a very very heavy scene, very heavily emotionally charged scene.
That's funny. One of the things that I thought was below the belt, and I think that Tabitha knows somewhat, when she points to Jade and says, "You're selfish. You're doing all of this because you have nobody to care for," and kind of threw in his face what Jim used to throw in his face. I feel like she was taking all of what she knew that Jim felt against Jade and just throwing it at him, right? Of course, she's at fault. I mean, the men in yellow literally pinpointed her and as like, your wife shouldn't have done that, and now I'm gonna kill you, right? Knowledge comes with the cost. He literally pointed the finger at the wife. However, she's projecting what she did when she said that. And Jade, you have the perfect still. You were just on it, where his face is, he looks so sad and he's looking off into the distance and he's like really upset. Is her emphasizing you don't have a family. We have a family, we have children, a marriage. You don't have anybody, you're all alone. And we know that Jade has told us that he had to move from Europe to the US when his grandmother died. So once your grandmother died, we are to assume that he doesn't have parents. His grandmother was taking care of him, then she passes away and he has to move here to the United States with some other person. So I think that that hurt him a lot because he is kind of a solitary figure. It seems like maybe that friend that he came into from with, that they killed off, Sarah killed off, Toby, might have been the closest thing he has to family. So he seemed really affected, like, whoa, that is so below the belt for you to tell
Yeah,
me that you're
like
all alone.
yeah,
Nobody
I've
cares for you.
experienced yeah, I've experienced loss too. Like I lost my best friend the day I arrived here, you know. Yeah, no, so yeah, again, it was a little bit below the belt, definitely a little bit below the belt, but a good scene nonetheless. Definitely a heavy scene. It should have been Tabitha. Says Breezy. Savage.
She's
Savage.
getting a lot of hate, actually. I'm looking at the chat, and like Kiwi said, it cemented her hate for her, a lot of
Ooh,
other people. So could we do a poll, Jeremy? I request a poll of
okay.
people's feelings towards Tabitha. Did this episode make you feel more positive towards the Tabitha
Did
character or more negative?
okay. Did this episode
Like her
make
more,
you
or, yeah.
like Tabitha more? Yes or no? Okay, I can create that poll. I
Or
can do that.
dislike her? Or
Yeah, did this
dislike her?
episode make you like Tabitha more? Or did this episode make you dislike Tabitha more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Did this episode make you dislike Tabitha more? Question mark. All right, here
And
we
I do
go.
see in the chat, you guys say you never liked her, but you were in
Hey,
that
that's fine
negative
too.
region. Are you going even lower?
Do
Did
you
you
like
not
her
like her
even
and now
less now? Yeah.
yeah.
That's the point. If you never liked Tabitha, did this episode, I guess, make you like her even less? I guess, but yeah, I can create that poll, no problem. And there it is, folks. If you refresh your chat, your live chat, you should see the poll. It is officially up, and already we got 71% saying yes, this episode made you dislike Tabitha more. But we got, around 30% starting to creep up and more saying no. So it's all right. It's starting to, we got a little bit on both sides. The yes are winning right now, but there are some no's. There are some people that are saying, no, this episode didn't make me like Tabitha less. And that's great. I like that. I like that we see a little bit of both when we do these polls. Awesome stuff, guys. But yeah, we'll leave that up for a little while. Let people vote before we pull it down and look at the results. But yeah, really good scene. Really good scene. But for me, if I'm talking my favorite scene, I mean, I'm sure some of you already know. Let's see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. My favorite scene in this episode was the incredibly heartfelt scene we get between Victor and Henry in the barn. You guys know me. I'm a sucker for some Scott McCord, and anytime he's on screen, I think the guy just does such an amazing job with this character of Victor. He absolutely kills it. And this was super fun to see. If I can only find it. Jesus, what the hell? Where is that scene? Let's see. Where is that scene? It's always these quick scenes that are incredibly tough to find here. But yeah, Victor and Henry had one of their, again, every season they seem to have like these really good emotionally charged scenes of like Victor thinking that he's not worthy, Victor afraid, for his father. And this one we got, something similar to that, where Victor was very much afraid. He's afraid that his father is going to be next. And you can understand why. I mean, Victor has been in this place for a very long time, and he's seen so many people come and go. Here we go. Here it is. Victor and Henry. And I just thought this was super interesting because, Victor is, he's ruining the day that his father got stuck in here. You never should have come here. You never should have come here. But before that, when Henry walks up to Victor and he's kneeling and he's sitting there on the floor, we hear Victor saying, "It takes everything. It takes everything good. It takes everything away." So right away, you start to wonder, what exactly is it that Victor is referring to? Is he just referring to Fromville as a whole, Fromville in general? Is it just Fromville? It takes things away from you. But I just thought this was a really good scene. I don't know, maybe I'm just a sucker for a good Henry and Victor scene, because I feel like every time these two get together, they have like a really good emotionally charged scene. But let's play a few seconds of it here and see what we can see. And Henry, I feel like Henry is exactly what Victor needed at this point in his life. After everything that Victor's gone through, after Victor having nothing for so long, and then for him having to carry the guilt of believing that he's the reason his mother and his sister are dead. He's the reason why they didn't survive. He failed to protect them. For him to all of a sudden now have a parent figure here in Fromville with him to guide him through these moments. Can you imagine how many of these moments Victor has had to go through alone, without Henry, with no guidance, with no one to lean on, with no one to tell him that, no, you didn't do anything wrong. This isn't your fault. So again, I love these scenes between these two characters. And again, a lot of it maybe goes back to, I have a really good relationship with my old man. And, I see stuff like this and it reminds me of, of our relationship. And I just love I love a good father-son scene. There's nothing better than a good father-son scene, I guess. But yeah, you see this here, and Victor is very much afraid. He's afraid. You never should have come here. You never should have come here. And he's in fear. He worries that that one day he's going to find his father in a position like this, strung up from the barn in a very, horrible manner. So it's just very nice that Victor finally has someone that can be there for him, someone that can finally pull him back off the edge, someone that can finally tell him, no, you're not damaged. No, there's nothing wrong with you. No, we're going to face this together. You're not in this alone anymore. You don't have to face this alone anymore. And as far as the performance from Scott McCord goes, it's the little subtle things that maybe some people might not notice the first go around, but watching this scene in particular, you really get a sense of just how good of an actor Scott McCord really is in terms of how he's able to portray nervousness, the anxiety, guilt, fear. You can see it manifesting in his very body language. We see here in this scene, he grabs up that rope and that has had, deeply crippling anxiety. So for me, it's just, seeing that Scott McCord really goes above and beyond to portray this character of Victor in an incredibly accurate manner, to the point where he's even getting into the headspace where he's mimicking the same body language that a person that has been through the stuff that Victor has been through would be doing. So again, it's just, it might not look like much to the outside. It might not look like much, on first glance. But when you look a little bit deeper at Scott McCord's performance as Victor, it's these little tiny things that really set the performance apart, at least for me anyway, that tell me he's really nailed this role. He really is able to get into the mindset of this character, the damaged, guilt-ridden, trauma-ridden mindset of a 10-year-old boy stuck in an adult's body. And just from the body language alone, he's so good at playing this character. So yeah, anytime I see these two have a really good heartfelt scene like this, it's always a standout for me. Yeah, he's such a good actor. He really is.
He's an amazing actor. I like that, depending, and we've said this a billion times, but what I love about the community of From coming together is that depending on your background, you're going to acknowledge and see different things, right? I like that you mentioned your father, having a warm relationship with your father. For me, that's why I love Boyd, because Boyd is more like my father figure. My dad, I love my dad. He'll kill for me. He's hardcore. He's not going to hug me when I'm down. He tells me get up. Stop crying. Don't you dare cry, right? So yeah, so you see different things, right? When I saw this scene, we have never seen Victor this affected. We have seen him freaking out, yes, but we never saw him. This was him to the 10th degree. He was
Yes.
really showing his trauma where he couldn't speak, he couldn't hold eye
He couldn't
contact.
stay still. He's fidgeting. Yeah.
Now, the From therapist, if you're in the chat or later on when you watch this for on
I
the
believe the
rewatch.
I believe the From therapist is, I could be wrong. I believe this is the From therapist,
Yes,
right? I could be
yes,
wrong.
that's our From
But that,
therapist. That's our
the
From.
avatar looks familiar, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I imagine it must be very fun, watching and analyzing a character like Victor from, like a therapist point of view, where you have, more of the expertise as to what to look for. But I mean, just from a layman's, point of view, like myself, it just looks like he's able to kind of channel these traumatic, these very realistic and traumatic kind of, after effects, I guess you could have, if for someone that did maybe have PTSD or did suffer long-term trauma. He just plays it so well.
Yes. He plays it super well. And when I saw him doing this sign with the rope and holding himself, he kept holding onto himself. It reminded me of, and what do I know? But that's why we have a professional, a From therapist, grounding. This
Yeah.
is the sort of technique or the sort of thing that somebody with severe trauma does. They will teach you to ground yourself because your mind can start to get ahead of itself and you start going back into PTSD. You start, spiraling. And so when he was grabbing the rope and putting it so that he could feel something and holding himself, I thought that looks like what I've been taught to do, which is like grounding yourself in the moment. I'm okay. Everything is okay right now.
Mhm.
For him not to spiral into what he may be remembering, because that's what it looked like to me. Like he
Yeah.
was having
Yeah.
PTSD because he remembers something. There was something familiar about this, and he was going back there. I just wish that he would open up and tell us, have
Open
you
up.
seen this before?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe he will. Maybe he will get to a point where he does. I mean, him and Henry really haven't been together for that long. It might seem that way because they've spent already a whole season together and now into season 4. But in terms of like actual days and weeks that Henry has been in Fromville, he hasn't been in there for very long. They haven't spent a ton of time together yet. So yeah, I am hoping that maybe with more time they will start to develop that, where Henry will kind of become that for Victor. And Henry himself will be able to kind of keep Victor level-headed, keep him grounded, as you say. But yeah, the tapping, the swaying, and more like Scott McCord. It just seems like he really knows how to tap into that kind of trauma, and it seems like it manifests in what looks to be realistic ways. The fidgeting, the tapping, the rope thing, all of it. It's just, he's really good, man. He's such a good actor. But yeah, that was my favorite scene from the episode, seeing just that good heartfelt moment between Henry and Victor. Every time these two are on screen together, it's always just good freaking film. It's always good. It's cinema. It's good cinema. But yeah, awesome stuff, guys. And let us know, of course, continue to let us know in the chat throughout the night, guys. What were some of your favorite scenes? What were some of the scenes that you liked the most? Or what were some of the scenes that maybe you didn't like in episode 2? What stood out to you, good or bad? We got a $2 super chat from Let's Scare Tiffy to Death. That is an awesome fucking name. Let's Scare Tiffy to Death. Love it. Hoping Sarah noticed glasses were a perfect fit. I mean, they were a pretty perfect fit. And, and that's the thing, you can't just kind of throw on any old glasses and just like walk down the street. Like you need to find a prescription that's very near to your own. And I suppose they were kind of trying to do that. At one point, she kind of puts on one pair and she's like, oh, whoa, not that one. Almost like she's kind of pretending like, oh, this isn't my prescription. I need to find something different. So she's playing it kind of well, Sophia. But again, I think if anyone's going to notice weird stuff about Sophia, it's going to be Sarah. Just the way Sarah is, the way that Sarah kind of observes the town, and the way that Sarah kind of goes unnoticed at times. I think Sarah is like a prime candidate that would start to see some red flags in Sophia. So when I think of, how is Sophia going to get caught? How are they going to find out that Sophia isn't really Sophia? A lot, Sarah's one of the first characters that comes to mind in terms of maybe she'll notice some red flags, along with some others. Boyd's very smart and very attentive as well. There's other characters that might notice some things. Victor too, for instance. But I get the feeling Sarah is another one of those characters that might start to smell that something's up with Sophia, that she might not be who she says she is. Sarah's sharp.
Yes, yes, let's go, Tiffany. Not only that, but we know that Sarah is observant. S- When Elgin was up to no good, Sarah was holding back. We
Yeah,
see her under the stairwell and she's not saying anything. She's observing and she's thinking.
just
And
listening,
then she takes it upon herself. This is what is going to be needed and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So she already knows. She gave us the description of the people that are preyed upon. Remember, she said very well that she understands this place preys on people like you and me, people who want to do good. So she's going to see that nature in Sophia, because
Yeah.
Sophia always says a positive thing for every negative thing. Watch. Next time you see her, pay attention.
She's
She
always
will say
glass
something.
half full. Yeah.
Yeah, she always does that. So Sarah
Yeah.
is going to notice you fit the description of myself and Elgin. You are going to be in danger. She already knows that this is a pattern, that it doesn't just happen with her, that they moved on to a different person. So I believe that she is likely to notice, I need to keep an eye on Sophia to take care of her. And then potentially, because she's taking care of Sophia, she might notice, no, there's something wrong with Sophia. She's the problem, right? Um, what I thought was really funny was when Kenny didn't want to leave Sophia with Sarah. It's like he's even afraid of leaving the men in yellow with Sarah. Like
He was
he was like,
hesitant.
"Oh,
Kenny
just go
did not
back."
want Kenny did not want to leave her with Sarah. He was a little hesitant at first, like, should I do this? Yeah.
Right. What I found interesting too, and I wanted to ask you, Jeremy, Sarah says to Kenny, seen that much closeness between Jim and Kenny.
Jim and Kenny.
I would say Jade and
Yeah.
Jim. I would even
Yeah.
assume, I saw you guys together all the time, so you guys were close. But all of a sudden, she like gives him this deep, felt,
like he's his best friend, right? Yeah.
yeah, like, oh, I'm so sorry, you guys were close, right? And
Yeah.
I thought, no, they weren't. When I saw that, I was like, I've never seen them even talk to each other that much, but okay.
I mean, I mean, I wouldn't say they were like super close. I mean, yeah, they went on a few excursions together. Like they were actually the ones who discovered Cannibal Village. They discovered the ruined settlement together. So it looked like at the beginning of season 3, maybe that's where it stems from. It looked like Jim and Kenny were going out together a lot looking for food. And maybe during that process, they became closer friends, I guess. That's really the only thing I can think of. That's really the only time that I remember seeing them spend like time together, them two on screen together. That was the only thing that really kind of came to mind, is that maybe they became friends going on these food excursions. But yeah, you definitely never got the sense like, oh, Kenny and Jim are best friends, to the point you would say, oh, I know how close you were. So I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. They didn't seem like best friends. Friendly, definitely seemed friendly. But not like best friends, not friendly like how Kenny and Boyd are, But no, yeah, definitely an interesting description for sure. But thank you so much. Let's scare Tiffany to death. And again, I think Sarah's going to be among the first that starts noticing some red flags, and maybe that will be at PM. Maybe when Sarah starts noticing things about Sophia, maybe Sarah will start to think that she's just under the influence of this place, that maybe the voices got to her too. And then through looking a little bit closer, then she starts to see, okay, this is not just the voices. This is something else entirely. So yeah, I could totally see Sarah being the one that discovers who Sophia really is, for sure. We also got From Downtown 296 for $20. Thank you so much, From Downtown. Very much appreciate that, my friend. This episode made me respect From. Okay. As someone who's been watching it since it first premiered, all I've been asking for is answers. But episode 2 made me realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, great respect to the show. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Hell yeah. I mean, and I get it. You know, the show has been setting up a lot of mysteries from very early on that they're only now just getting around to paying off. So I definitely understand people, you know, really, really wanting answers. And again, it does look like this is going to be the season that our patience are paid off. Like after having all these patience for all these seasons, mystery after mystery after mystery, question after question after question, it does finally feel like, okay, this is finally the season where we're going to, all of that is going to get paid off and it's going to be worth the wait. At least that's how I feel. I feel like it very much will be worth the wait this season and next season once it's all said and done. But yeah, no, that's awesome from Downtown. I'm glad that you're finding an appreciation for the show. I mean, you know, it's always funny how you can always find even a deeper appreciation for things that you've already been watching for years sometimes. So that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. And thank both of you for the super chats. Very much appreciate you. And I owe you guys a glitter bomb. There we go. Glitter bomb. Thank you guys so much for the support. You guys have been super supportive of the channel lately, and I really can't thank you all enough. So thank you for that. But yeah, I think the show is firing on all cylinders right now. It feels like the show is at its all-time high in terms of popularity. I don't remember the show ever being this popular. It seems to get bigger and bigger every year. But yeah, here we are, folks. We are at the beginning of the end. So I guess we can just enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy these final 2 seasons and hope maybe someday we get some kind of spin-off series. I wouldn't mind a spin-off series. I know not everybody wants a spin-off series, but if they could do a spin-off show that fit in continuity and was as good as this, I'd watch it in a heartbeat. But we'll see. We'll see. If nothing else, you know, we at least have 2 awesome more seasons to look forward to from. So it's not over quite yet.
Yeah. And from Downtown, I will say one of the things, you're absolutely right. One of the things that I have noticed is that they do pay attention to the fandom. They know.
Oh, yeah.
They've said it in interviews. They know that From has a community that is deeply invested, that we want answers and we want the story to pay off, right? And they have mentioned that we are aware and it will pay off. For the people that have been invested since the beginning, they're going to be satisfied. We will attempt. They also let us know, you know, we're not perfect. We might make mistakes. So I like the way that they phrased that, saying, we're going to try our best, but forgive us if we miss, you know, something small. But they're going to try their very best to pay off all of the dedication and work that a lot of people have been putting into the show as fans. And absolutely, you have to respect that type of creator, somebody that listens to the positive, but also the negative. It is so much harder to listen to a negative point on your work, to take it, to realize maybe I need to change something about it, or, you know, adapt. And then to apply it. And I do feel like they have applied it. I feel like a lot of the times we ask for something and they'll give it to us. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that we asked for a town meeting and they gave us one.
And we got a town meeting, No, you're right. I mean, there has been a few instances where it does almost seem like they're pulling stuff directly from like popular fan theories and like putting it into the show. Like the tarot cards in season 2, like the random kind of tarot card scene, like little stuff like that. You definitely get the sense that they are, even if it's not influencing their writing, you definitely at least get the sense that they're keeping their ear to the ground when it comes to the fandoms and, you know, the fan theories that fans are focusing on. You can definitely tell that they're keeping an eye out. You can definitely tell. And yeah, I'm with you there as well, Kiwi. It depends on who the spinoff is. No Tabby or Ellis and Fatima. No. I mean, if we were to get a spinoff, like if when From were to end, if we were to get some kind of spinoff show, it really depends on how From is going to end. We don't even know if this place is even going to still be standing by the time the show ends. So the only thing that might potentially work is like a prequel of the original settlers, like the original residents, the original parents, a prequel of the original timeline that started everything. That's really the only thing I could see that would like actually work as a structured show, considering there's a foundation for it there. But other than that, yeah, it's going to be difficult to do a From spinoff. You got to kind of come up with the right idea.
Mm.
But
Yeah, well, you guys, Jeremy, we might have a little inkling as to if we want a prequel, what time period it would be with Jade's chart. We could take a
that
look
is
at the chart and
right.
see where a
Yes.
prequel would fit the best, right?
Let's dive into that. All right, now this was something that I thought was like super fun, and something that was super interesting that Jade did in episode 2. Now let me pull this up so we can take a look at it. And I know some of you guys noticed this as well. We were talking a little bit about it in the Discord, but we see here that at some point Jade has created some sort of timeline. And it looks like he created this after he got these memories. And in this timeline, it seems like he's trying to attempt to date certain aspects of Fromville. He's trying to trace the origin of certain things in Fromville to a specific date. So I thought it was interesting kind of diving into this a little bit deeper. We have here, Jade has for the 1950s. He believes this is where the diner, the motel, and some of the houses might have originated, and maybe even the clinic too. And then he has the bottle tree traced back to 1950s with a question mark. Let's see, he's got the stones that he believes are like super ancient. Here we go. Let's see. Unknown how far back this spans. What do we know? The beginning of what, when, where. Ancient age, medieval age, stones in the cave were very old. So we see Jade, he's doing the exact same thing that we as fans do. He's diving into all of these dates and he's trying to make out some sort of timeline as to when Fromville began and how the cycles kind of played out and where we are now. So I thought this was super interesting. And we did hear Tabitha in episode 1 say to Jade, what's more likely, that this place is just messing with our brains, or that we've been reincarnated for centuries and have been coming back here over and over again? She straight up says centuries. So whatever information that Jade and Tabitha learned at the end of season 3, at the very least, they got the sense that this has been going on for a very, very long time, centuries, maybe even longer, who knows? So I thought this was super interesting when you start looking at some of these dates and what, Jade is kind of trying to connect some of these dates to. 1861 is the barn from this time. Tabitha saw these in her nightmares as a small girl. Mm-hmm. She dreamt of this place. The settlement, we see the ruined settlement that was introduced in season 3, the cannibal village, as we like to call it. Jade has attempted to trace that back to the 1800s. Settlement, mm-hmm. Protective wards, red stones, the protective wards that he himself freaking tore down. So I thought this was super interesting. Like he's trying to create a timeline of Fromville, a timeline of the history of Fromville. And I love stuff like this. I love when characters try to dive into the actual timeline and the history of this place. And I think Jade's getting further than anyone else is as to kind of creating an actual timeline that might make sense. But yeah, I thought this was super cool. And he's literally trying to create a timeline of Fromville, essentially.
I think it's super cool. You went a little fast for me. What is the top of the chart? Could we go like one by one?
Yeah, we'll go through it one by one. We'll go through all of it. Now, this is the top part here. And he starts off here with, what do we know? And he says, the beginning, question mark, of what, when, where did it start? Where did this all begin? Where did it start? How long ago did this actually start? And he says it's unknown how far back this actually spans. But then he goes into some sort of, just small data points that he has to work on, like ancient age, medieval age. The stones in the cave were very old. So he's trying to kind of date exactly how far back this goes. When exactly did this original sacrifice take place? And, he doesn't really have an exact date, but he's thinking at the very least, it goes back to the 1600s or earlier.
Okay. And on the other side, thank you so much. And on the other side, I want to read like line by line. Okay. On the other side, it says, why did we
do it? The sacrifice, maybe.
Why did we do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I see. Next.
And the other bottle tree, cursive handwriting and birch bark, and like the others have. So again, he's maybe potentially tracing the other bottle tree all the way back to the 1600s as well. So he's trying to date everything. He's trying to create a timeline as to when this all started, and he's trying to date certain aspects of the town. Now we go over to this one, and he's got 1700s, old stone, something around. We don't really get all of it. Again, we're going to have to go in and try and get some more screenshots of it, but to see if we can see any more. But these were the only clear ones I could see. And he's kind of dating everything in terms of 1700s, 1800s, Industrial Revolution, Civil War era, the settlement. He thinks the settlement with the protective wards and the red stones might date back to the 1800s. And as a side note, he puts Tabitha saw these in her nightmares as a small girl. She dreamt of this place. So again, just more of him trying to create a timeline and trying to guess or guesstimate as to when some of these aspects in Fromville originated from and where they originated. Then he goes down to the barn. Barn is the barn from this time, and then potentially has it to an 1861 time period, which is close to the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. He has the Civil War dated. We do know we saw the Civil War soldier, so clearly there was something going around during that time in Fromville, possibly another cycle. Then he has a question mark at Colony House in terms of how old is Colony House? When was it built? Because we can definitely tell Colony House was built long before the rest of the buildings. Like, it's way older in terms of the architecture.
Yeah. Well, sorry to interrupt you, Jeremy.
No, please.
But can I tell you the dates in the lighthouse, and we see if maybe he has some of them on there?
Exactly. That's exactly.
Because I could read them to you.
Please do.
So I'm gonna do it in order, like chronological order.
Like from earliest to latest?
Yes. So we have 1506. He
That could be the
started at
beginning. That could be the very beginning.
1506.
That could be right when, that could literally where all of this originated from. And I think we'll find that that is the case.
Which he would be right. That would be the time period of the stones and that ancient sort of sedimentary rock, all of that. So then he wrote 1600s, and I believe he wrote Colony House from there. Was it? We have 1609. So he's right on that. We have 1609.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Cody brings up a good point. I mean, he's doing a pretty like Jade's doing a pretty good job in terms of accuracy for someone who didn't see those dates in the lighthouse. Jade hasn't seen those. So that's a good point, Cody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 1609, and he had that for Colony House. So 1600s. Then we have 1672. Then we have 1752, 1864, so 1800s. He has 1861.
He has 1861, and then under it, he has 1861 to 1865, the Civil War era, which 1864 would fall under. So that fits.
Mm-hmm. So the Civil War ghost, that's from that cycle. 1864, we have 1773. Then we have 1883. That's the next one. 1883.
Could that potentially be the settlement, 1800s?
Yes. Then 1931, and to finish off, 1978. So there's a time period of the 30s and the 70s. If we go with the theory that Sophia has been there before, would she fit with her outfit into the 30s or the 70s? I think the 70s.
70s. I'd say that looks like a 70s era dress. Yeah, I think that would fit at the 78 time period. Yeah. Yeah. And then he goes into the 1950s. He's got the diner, the motel, the houses, and maybe even the clinic, potentially all dating back to the 50s, along with other bottle trees, apparently. Was it here before Miranda got here? Is that why she saw / printed it? And then we have 1981. Miranda died by a monster at the bottle tree. He has Miranda dying in 1981. When up until this point, we were led to believe, or at least we thought, that the massacre happened in 1978. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there in terms of 1978 and then Miranda dying in 1981. And again, Nick and I were talking about this in the Discord, and it could just simply be that maybe the massacre itself happened in 1981, and Victor and Miranda first arrived in Fromville in 1978. Maybe it's called the 1978 timeline because that's when that timeline began. That's when Victor, Miranda, and Eloise first arrived in Fromville. Maybe they lived there for 3 years before the massacre happened, and then the massacre happens in 1981, and that's the night Miranda dies. That's really the only explanation I could think of as to the discrepancy in the years, that 78 is the year they arrived, but 81 was the year the massacre actually took place. If Jade is right here, that is.
Yeah, now I would like to talk about the beginning. At the beginning, he has the 1600s for the beginning, and he has a question, why did we do it? If we take a look at the 1600s in the US, in America, a lot of people have talked about this. It's the starving times in Jamestown, Virginia, where the population went from 500 to 60 settlers, roughly. So a lot of people have talked about this since, the season 1, since we saw the lighthouse and those dates were given to us. We went and researched every single date. So when he asked, why would we sacrifice our children? If we're looking at the starving times, there was proof of cannibalism. They started eating human meat, right? I mean, you're talking about that's kind of the only thing that they had. They did not have animals. They were at war with the Indians. So it was just a very difficult time for them, including the fact that they were not people that knew how to work the land. I mean, the idea here is that you are a colonizer trying to make a living where you don't know how to harvest the food, the weather of
very well. Yeah.
You just don't know it very well.
Plant, what soil is going to be rich to plant, what soil is maybe too close to the sea where you can't plant. You just don't know the land yet. No, and I think that's a very good point.
So why would you do it, right? Like, why would you sacrifice your children? I think that is the answer. The 1600s, they were starving. It's famine.
Could have been a starvation thing. Like, if now that we're getting a better picture as to how far back this actually might go, and it is centuries, yeah, it could have been something along the lines of starvation, famine, plague, anything like one of those type of catastrophes, really. But I just wanted to catch up on these real quick. We got 2 super chats that just came in. Thank you so much, that umbrella guy. Thank you so much, Tug, for the $5. Very much appreciate you, my friend. Great having from again. It is right. I mean, considering how long we have to wait in between seasons these days, where we have to sometimes wait like a year and a half or even longer. It's like, now that it's finally around, it's like, fuck. Great having From back. And again, I do think that this is going to be the season that a lot of us have been waiting for. The season that finally kind of gives us some of those answers that the show has been setting up. I feel like we're on the cusp of getting some big revelations this year. So yeah, it is awesome to finally have From back again. And I'm loving it. I am loving it. 2 episodes in and I am already neck deep. But thank you so much, my friend, for the 5. Very, very much appreciate you. I hope you're enjoying the season so far. And From's just such a fun show. I mean, we cover a lot of different shows here on the channel, and I love all the shows that we cover. I only cover shows that I like. That's one of the rules. I only cover stuff that I'm actually into. But From has a different kind of like level of like how fun it is because of the nature of the show and the mystery and discussing it and trying to figure out just what the fuck is going on in this thing. So From has that extra level of fun to it. So I'm super glad that it's back. I have the most fun covering From and Shogun. From and Shogun. I have the most fun covering those 2. We got From Downtown for $10. Thank you so much, From Downtown. Very much appreciate you, my friend. We know that a few of Jade's reincarnations are the Civil War soldiers, Christopher the Rock guy, beside Miranda. I wonder who some of Tabitha's reincarnations are. Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, we know that it's Miranda and Tabitha, but we don't really know any of the others, do we? Like, we have a lot of good idea that Jade might potentially be seeing all kinds of things. We know Christopher was the previous one. We know Miranda was the previous one for Tabitha, but what about before that? Are we ever going to get introduced, I guess, to any of these previous incarnations? Will we get like a definitive look at some of the previous Tabithas or even more of the previous Jades, even going all the way back to the 1600s? And how many were there? I guess that's my next question. How many different incarnations have there been? Like, there has to be an exact number. how many different Jades have there been? How many different Tabithas have there been? And if this goes all the way back to the 1600s or even before the 1600s, actually the first date is what, 1506 is the first date on the lighthouse. So
Yeah.
if this goes all the way back to 1506, if that was the origin of when all of this started, when the parents were first human, when they first sacrificed their children to gain immortality, if this goes that far back, then damn, there could be potentially dozens of Jades and Tabithas out there over the centuries, dozens of them potentially. So I wonder if we'll ever get a definitive look at any of the previous versions, beyond just Miranda and Christopher, and even further. And we might. And again, especially where Tabitha is concerned, we haven't seen really anything about Tabitha's previous incarnations. So yeah, I hope we do.
Yeah, that would be really interesting, but I'm more interested out of all of the versions of them, the original version of them. And I would like to see maybe if they
The
could show
original
us a
version.
snippet of the family structure. What type of family were they? Were they a loving family, right? With their little daughter, their little Ankui daughter? Did they get along? Were they like a loving married couple, or was it more like the way that they're kind of interacting with each other now that they're fighting? Was there a lot of fighting going on? So
Yeah.
and I wonder what they look like too.
And I do wonder what they look like. What do the original Jade and the original Tabitha ultimately look like? And yeah, will we ever see them on the show? That's what I want to see. And I suppose we could get there via Julie. Like if Julie gets a handle on her story walking, or even if she maybe just accidentally ends up there. We did see in season 3, when Julie was story walking for the very first time, she first ends up in Martin's chamber. But after she leaves Martin's chamber, she then ends up in the caves beneath the town at the same time that Tabitha and Victor were in the caves, because she could hear them talking. And then it seems like as she starts to descend deeper into the caves, she goes even further back in time to what sounded like the day of the original sacrifice happening. You could see and hear that there was a chamber right in front of her with light coming from it. And you could hear Ankui, 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 and children screaming coming from it. So when Julie first story walked in season 3, she came very close to seeing the original sacrifice. So I wonder if she's going to return there at some point. Will we actually see the original timeline? Will we actually see the sacrifice through Julie's POV instead of seeing it through like a Jade or a Tabitha flashback, I guess?
Yeah. I was thinking about this tinfoil theory, because I don't like the idea that From is a story. I just don't like it. I don't like the fairy tale aspect of it. But let's say that it is. Ethan keeps saying that it's a story. Ethan keeps saying you can't change a story once it's been told. I'm wondering, and I would not like it to be this, but I can't help but put it together. Ethan says you can't change a story once it's been told. The other time that we hear story is when the little boy in white says, somebody who loved the Ankui children very much told them a story that gave them hope. We're supposed to save them and be on their side because, they are the Ankui children that we're supposed to save. Could it be that the answer to this is that Julie has to go all the way back and stop that story from being told to the children, kind of sacrifice them fully instead of giving them hope to make this place? You can't change a story once it's been told. That original story has to not be told.
Okay.
Or you have to tell it differently. Or Julie has to get there and tell the story differently so that she could change the story, right?
Interesting. I mean,
because we know it all started with the story. That's the story that started
with the
it all.
story. The story is what gave them hope. The hope is what kind of made them potentially create all of this when they poured their hope into the roots. And it's very funny. I mean, MGM From just released this just the other day, right before episode 2 dropped. Nice little graphic where they are going over, they're reminding us of this exact saying. And when I saw them post this, that tells me, okay, this is going to come back into play this season. They're reminding us that this is out there. They're reminding us that this was a big moment of the show. We see, but someone who loved them told them a story, the story that gave them hope. They poured their hope into the roots that made the symbol, and those roots became a tree, the first original faraway tree. Because I know there were some debates as to what the tree was. Is it the faraway tree or the tree in the road? I think this kind of confirms that it was the faraway tree that the roots grew into. But yeah, I think if they're reminding us of this, if they're, because this was just posted the other day officially by MGM, if they're reminding us of this, I have to imagine we're going to find out who told them that story, what that story was, and why it gave them hope. And yeah, I mean, like you said, we assume that it was Jade and Tabitha, the original Jade and Tabitha, because we hear Jade at the end of season 3, when he first gets his memories back, the first things he says is, we used to sing them lullabies. So you start to think, okay, were the original Jade and the original Tabitha, were they the ones that told the Asan Kui children a story that gave them hope? But what if they weren't? What if it wasn't them? What if it was actually Julie? What if Julie did story walk back and give them this story that gave them hope? I don't know, or maybe she has to go back and stop that story from being told, as you mentioned. I think that could be a very interesting kind of twist of fate, of everything, seeing it play out like that. But yeah, I think if they're showing us this, if they're reminding us of this dialogue, it must be because it's going to come back at some point this season.
And I think it could play out one of two ways. And that is, and once again, the trolley problem comes back into play when you have to make a decision as to what are you going to change. The original story that was told, I believe the architects of From, the people that made From, it's only there because of the children, because they needed a place to wait for mom and dad to come and
They
save
needed a
them.
place that these reincarnated.
And since
I think they served two different functions by creating Fromville. Not only will it be a place where their reincarnated parents can come over and over again in hopes of saving them, but it also trapped the monsters there so they couldn't wreak havoc on the real world. I think it serves a dual function. So yeah, I think maybe the children did create it. I think you're right. I think it's a good theory.
Yeah. And also, if you think about the fact that they're reincarnated and all of their memories are not with them immediately, even the children would have to create a place where mom and dad, Tabitha and Jade, have to hang around without escape until they do remember. So it even serves the function of, yes, you're here to save us, but it's not like you come back with all of your memories. So I have to trap you to get you to remember that you're supposed to save me to begin with. That's why I believe that the Nkui children made From. This is a place where they wait, their eternal waiting place. And I do believe that it was Tabitha and Jade who told them that story. Julie is going to try to story walk and to fix things right now and in the not so distant past. But I think towards the end, she's going to realize I have to go all the way back. And I either have to choose to have Tabitha and Jade not tell the story so that the children are sacrificed and they die without hope, therefore not creating From, or I have to make sure that Tabitha and Jade, if they are going to tell the story, they tell an exit. You can change it once it's been told, but maybe you can create it and finish it in a different way. So telling them, we will come back for it.
You're literally changing.
Tell them the end. Tell them the end. Because all they said was come back for them, right? We're going to save you. But what you say is, we're going to save you. We're going to go home. You're going to be okay. Everybody's going to get to go home and everything will be okay. So that you tell them the end and there's a place out of From. There is victory and justice. You have to tell them the end so that you could change it. Tell it differently, right? So you have those choices to make. Do we sacrifice the children once again and just more cleanly not tell them a story, let them die so that they don't create this place? Or do we tell them, adding, we're going to come back and we're going to save you. Everybody gets to go home. Everything's going to be okay. So that, a group of people that are very brave will come back, save you, and then they'll get to go home to their families. If you tell them the end, you're changing it. So when the children focus all of their energy on hope, it's not just hope making From and the tree. It's going to be hope that this entire story, the exit plan, also comes to fruition. You get what I mean?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I like the idea that the children might have been the ones that created Fromville. And I like the dual meaning behind it. I like the dual meaning of not only this being a place that, yeah, they're waiting for their parents to come and save them. But again, also kind of double dual meaning, trapping the monsters at the same time, making sure that the monsters can't wreak havoc on the outside world and all the other horrors that are locked up in here. But then again, it comes back down to the idea, can a story be changed? And how are we going to save kids that are already dead? And I love how Boyd brings that up in the actual show, because that's something we as fans, we've been asking this from the very beginning. Ever since we first heard that saving the children might potentially be the way out, that's been, the question on all of our minds, right? What exactly does save the children even mean? How do you save children that are already dead? And, while we've been theorizing on that for going on 3 years now, I love that the characters are finally bringing these things up as well. Like, we actually have Boyd asking this exact question. How do you save children that are already dead? So I love that the characters are like catching up to the fan base now. Like, the characters are finally catching up to the fan base and the questions that we've been asking. But no, that is the $1 million question, right? How do you save kids that are already dead? Unless you can go back and somehow change the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's something that Julie said that also I think adds to the idea of going all the way back, and either you don't tell the story or you add a happy ending to that story so that the children can focus on that exit strategy. Julie says to Ethan, remember that Dad said that in this place we have to believe that whatever we believe is what happens. So we have to believe that good things will happen. I think that if I am correct, that it is the children's belief and hope that manifested a physical place, then that story, that line of Julie's, is telling us it is genuinely what you believe in this place is what will happen. So you have to believe in good things. So when the children are told the story, you have to also tell them that they get to go home, that they are saved at the end, so that they genuinely believe that they are saved, and therefore it becomes an option, right? The story is incomplete. They were told, we will come back and save you, but not the ending. You get what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because again, they're gonna have to flesh that out at some point on the show, I would imagine, and give us our characters, Tabitha, Jade, all of them. We hear Jade say, "I'm working on it." When Boyd says, "How do you save children that are already dead?" And we hear Jade, "I'm working on it." That has to go somewhere. At some point, our characters need to find out what exactly saving the children entails and what they are going to have to do to save the children. And yeah, again, there's so many good theories out there as to what that could really mean. We got Big Heck saying they could break the curse of the children by following the Chromonaucle story that Julie gives them. And I mean, just based on the season 4 trailer, we do know at some point it seems like Julie is going to start picking up some of Ethan's books and begin reading them and begin trying to do some research, I guess you could say, and learn more about her story walking ability. Even though I get the feeling she's not going to learn a whole lot about that in a book. I mean, that's something that she's going to need to actually learn, in real time by story walking herself. I feel like that's the only way she's really going to get a handle on it. But yeah, a lot of questions have been brought up in terms of, is it even possible to change the story? We've had 2 characters come out and straight up say, it's not possible. You can't change a story once it's already been told. Ethan says this, and the Man in Yellow also says this. But again, Ethan might not know what the heck he's talking about, and the Man in Yellow might just be lying because he doesn't want anyone to change the story. Because if they change the story, that could mean very bad things for him. So whenever I hear that the story can't be changed, I question it. I question, can it? Is that really true? Or is there maybe a way that Julie can change the story in some manner? And I think that's what her storyline will probably be focusing on, her trying to change the story.
I mean, you and I dislike this part of Ethan's little story because he hasn't tried.
It just
From
puts
is the type of
arbitrary
place.
rules on it. I don't like arbitrary rules being thrown on this ability that she just acquired, that she hasn't even used yet. And Ethan's already
Ethan
telling her, no.
doesn't know anything. Okay.
Exactly.
And we have people like childlike people like Victor who will tell you something is certain. Like, yes, this is the truth, this is certainty. And then go back and say, oh my gosh, I forgot. That was my sister. I had a sister and she was the one that was drawing, or it was actually not the puppet, it was the boy in white. So
Yeah.
children make mistakes when they are telling somebody facts, what they believe to be facts. So
Yeah.
maybe Ethan will do the same. Oh, I believe you couldn't, but this is actually how it works. I
Yeah.
don't think that he is all knowing, all
No,
powerful Ethan.
he's
I think he's just a kid saying what he knows from his stories.
exactly. I think that's all it is. It's Ethan saying what he thinks he knows based on fantasy stories that he's read, horror stories that he's read. But those are fictional stories that he's read. Fromville is something different entirely. But we got Katrina Marie 420 for $5, and I 100% agree with this. I love that Boyd finally knows the real mission and is all on board, and I love that last part as well. It's one thing for Boyd to like learn the real mission, but I wouldn't have been too surprised if Boyd would have been someone that maybe didn't like quite believe it. But as of right now, I mean, the episode synopsis later on indicate that that might change. But at least right now, Boyd is in. Like he's all in. He wants to solve this, and I think Boyd maybe found a newfound motivation to look elsewhere ever since he saw Smiley come back to life. Now that he saw the one win that they had get taken away from them, now that he knows he can't fight back against these things physically using force, I think Boyd is starting to realize that there has to be another option. There has to be another answer as to how we can win. And maybe Boyd is finally opening up his mind to the possibility that the stuff that Jade is talking about, the stuff that Jade has remembered, maybe that is the answer. Maybe the answer lies a little bit more in the mystical rather than the defeating them physically. So yeah, I love that Boyd has finally been brought in, that he finally realizes what the scope is, what they're trying to do, and it seems like yes, he is on board with trying to help Jade with this. And again, we see the episode synopsis later on. We know Jade and Boyd go on some kind of mind-bending adventure together. So yeah, I love that Boyd and Jade are going to be teaming up. Two of my favorite characters finally getting some screen time together. Because if you look at the first 3 seasons, Jade and Boyd, they don't have a whole lot of screen time together. They don't share a whole lot of scenes together. So I'm so glad that season 4 is putting these two characters together to go out there and find answers. You got the brains and the brawn. Boyd
Yes.
with Boyd's the strong one. You got Jade being the intellectual one, and together they're going to cause some freaking damage. I think together they're going to make some really good headway.
Yes, Katrina. And I think that Boyd, the perspective of him saying, I'm hearing all these crazy things that you're saying, reincarnation, child sacrifice, and seeing what you're talking about. He doesn't question it. He's beyond that. He's been through so much that he's not saying, let's question this. He's
He
saying,
knows it's
if
possible.
this is true, he's
Yeah.
saying it's a possibility. I don't know for sure. He's like, if this is true, then how do we save the children? He's willing to give it a try. So potentially, I think that he could be the voice of reason to come to Tabitha and say, it might be true, it might not be true, but we need you to play ball. We need you to help us figure it out, because this might be a way of getting home. I mean, what do we have to lose, right? For Tabitha, for her, it's like, I have my children. They might come after my children next. But really, like Boyd was saying, there might come a point where you don't get to decide anything else but how you die. So you're going to die
Yeah.
anyway. You might as well
Yeah.
try. I think that he can reason with Tabitha. I also found this to be really interesting. When Boyd and Jade have the body, before Jade confesses to Boyd what has been happening, Boyd says, knowledge comes with a cost. What the fuck could that mean, right? And Ellis looks at him very slightly. Ellis knowing that we might be the reason he's dead. I feel like at that point he was thinking, we know what that means. Like, we literally had a whole
Yeah.
meeting of how Tabitha found out what the monsters really are. But
Yeah.
Boyd was fully on cover up. He was going to continue the cover up. He was going to say, I have no idea what that means, because
True.
nobody found out anything. And
Mhm.
Ellis was just looking at him. So once Jade came up and said that, I was so glad. I was like, no, guys, everybody's going to think it's their fault that Jim is dead. But finally, Jade confesses all of the truth to Boyd, and
Mhm.
then Boyd is like, okay, so it was you guys, it's not what we did, because we've also been up to some stuff. So I really hope that Boyd gives that information back to Jade, like, let's
Mhm.
put everything together. This is what Fatima told us. Let's come together with what we know, because we
Yes.
didn't see that. We only saw it coming from one side.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, yeah, I'm putting all of these data points together, having everybody finally being on the same page. Everything that Fatima went through with the monsters being literally reborn through Fatima, I have to imagine that is information that Jade should probably know. With Jade trying to figure out everything that he can about this place and how it works, all this new information that Jade just learned about him being reincarnated and all of that. Yeah, that's a pretty big data point that I think Jade should know, that Fatima gave birth to one of these monsters and that they are literally immortal. You can't kill them. They'll just come back. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty important data point that Jade should know. So yeah, that would be good. I'd love to see Boyd and Jade kind of exchange notes in a sense where Boyd tells Jade everything he knows too. But I'm glad they're working together. I'm glad they're at least, kind of a similar mind for the first time in terms of trying to go down this path, this strange path, to try and learn some answers. So I just it's nice seeing those two have some scenes together. But how will it end up is the question. Will it end with them finding out something, or will it end in disaster? I feel like it could go either way. But either way, it seems like our characters are finally at least on the track to being in the right direction. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to some more Jade and Boyd. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, Boyd arrested Acosta. What do you think he'll do with her? The sheriff office is compromised. Will he lock her up in a room at Colony House, the clinic, or my favorite, the box? And the box made a little bit of a resurgence in this episode too, as well. Like, I mean, I didn't think I would ever hear Boyd threatening to throw somebody in the box again, but boy, he said, "Or you're gonna go in the fucking box." He straight up told Elgin, "You're gonna go in the box if you don't keep your mouth shut." And I thought that was hilarious. But in terms of Acosta, yeah, I don't know what will Boyd do with Acosta? We saw that she has already shown to be a very much a danger, not just to herself but to everybody around her. First by busting into town like Wyatt Earp and fucking shooting up the place and killing poor Nikki. Now to stealing an ambulance and almost running people over and just completely disregarding Ethan, running off into the woods by himself right after his dad just died. Didn't even bother stopping for the kid. So yeah, I think Acosta has very much proven herself to be a danger. She's a danger to herself and to everybody around her. So I wouldn't be surprised if Boyd wants to maybe keep her on lockdown for a little bit until she kind of, learns the lay of the land and really gets just how important and dangerous this place really is. But yeah, what's he going to do with her? Is he going to lock her up? Is he going to put her in the box? What do you guys think? What do you guys think in the chat? And what do you think as well, PM? What do you think Boyd is ultimately going to do with Acosta? Will he try to get through to her one more time, or has he had enough?
I think it's time that somebody give her, a stern conversation, a stern warning of what could happen. I think that they haven't been getting along. We know that much when it comes to Acosta and Boyd. But somebody has to put a stop to this by putting a boundary. If you don't do X, Y, Z, then this will be the repercussion of sorts. So I think that's going to be Boyd. Boyd is going to have a serious conversation with her as to what type of behavior is expected of her or how she will be dealt with. I thought it was really funny that he arrested her for driving recklessly. That's what it seemed like, because he said, "You're driving crazy," and then he was like, "Turn around," and started handcuffing her. I was like, "Oh my God, she's getting a traffic citation in front."
Traffic charge.
But a lot of people in the chat, and I agree with you guys, were saying we need to give her a little bit of a pass because she didn't get the opportunity. She is correct. She didn't get the opportunity to wear herself out doing circles around the block and realizing there is no way out.
Okay, yeah.
So when it comes to that, yeah, she maybe needed to see it for herself. Could she have acted differently? Yes. Right now she has an attitude. She's kind of being super rude to everybody. Even my poor little
Yeah.
Sarah tried talking to her, like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Don't talk to me like we're friends." It was just,
With her friends.
she's
You're not my
kind of
friend. Yeah.
exactly, right? So she needs somebody to have a conversation with her. When it comes to Elgin
Mhm.
potentially being put in the box, that is the
Mhm.
rule. That is the law of the land. If you put somebody in peril, you go in the box. So he
Yeah.
should get the box to begin with. Not for Tilly,
Mhm.
but for what he did to Fatima. They just don't want to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah.
And he seems defiant. I did not expect that from Elgin.
I didn't either. That was very interesting. I was because we saw that little preview, that sneak little preview of that scene, but we didn't get the full scene, so we didn't get the full context to it. So yeah, when you actually get to see it in its entirety, yeah, again, I was surprised. I thought maybe Elgin would kind of, and maybe he will. It's still pretty early. It's still pretty fresh. Maybe Elgin will get to a point where he realizes, shit, I was manipulated. I made a mistake. I almost got Fatima killed. Maybe he will come to that realization. But yeah, right now he seems a little more defiant right now. It doesn't seem like he's fully grasped just the magnitude of what he really did yet. So yeah, I guess that'll be interesting to see. When will he realize that? Or will he ever realize that? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it was funny that Akasha said she was a good person. Then Ethan is spotted on the side of the road and she goes, he's fine. It's a funny symbolism of how religious people claim. I mean, I don't know how religious she is, but it's definitely hypocrisy, if nothing else. It's definitely hypocrisy on her part where, yeah, she's going around pretending to be like this moral authority, like she's such a good person. She always does the right thing. And then boom, she sees this poor kid heading into the fucking woods by himself and just says, he's fine. He'll be fine. It's not like his father just died. It's not like he's probably not in his right mind. It's not like he's running into woods filled with fucking monsters. He'll be fine. He's totally fine. He's growing up. He's good. So yeah, it's very much hypocrisy on her part where she pretends to be this moral authority, yet she completely just leaves a kid in danger like that. So yeah, I see what you're saying. And Samuel says 30 days in county jail. Hey, lock her up. 30 days in county jail.
Lock
I
her
like
up.
it. I like it.
That might have to be the solution. So I know we're joking about it, but when it comes to how reckless she is, how
Ooh,
she really can't be controlled. She
what
cannot
do
be
you think of?
controlled by Boyd. We know she dislikes Boyd,
Yeah.
and his authority means nothing. It might have to be locking her up behind bars so that she doesn't hurt herself or others,
Mhm.
and just feeding her, bringing food to her.
Yeah.
Um, which,
Oh,
might do her some good. It might do her some
not,
good, some
not.
self-reflection. When it comes to the religious aspect of it, I think that it's really interesting that they're showing us religion is not going to help you. Father Cotry, he believed that religion somehow could help. He believed that if they were book 74, there was a solution that might be through religion, through God, right?
Mhm.
God was trying to show them something. He said, I believe that this was my mission. This is what I was supposed to do. But we see that the men in yellow, the entity in yellow is religious. So that is not the solution. I feel like once again, it's coming out of the blue. The Bible's not going to help you. We were all thinking, what would happen if a Bible comes into from? Could that be the solution? Can you get out with the Bible?
Mm.
The men in yellow is holding the Bible, and they can't get out. So it's not going to be through religion.
Mhm. No. But I do like this though, in terms of like Acosta, and not just Acosta, but like as a new rule in general. Like, yes, you have the box, which is like a death sentence. But what do you do for crimes that are a little bit lesser than death sentence? And you don't really want these people in town anymore. So yeah, what if this could be another option? If you break a certain kind of rule, depending on the severity of it, what if one of the options was you are banished to Cannibal Village? you are banished to the ruined settlement. You have to live there by yourself from now on. They give them a talisman, and they say you have to live there by yourself from now on. What that, as you know, that could be a place where they exile people to, where they banish people to. I like this, Blue. I don't know why. I think this is an interesting idea. I mean, they've already built a box in the middle of town, a box that is literally a death sentence. You're literally executing someone when you put them into that box. But what for other offenders that, you know, maybe don't deserve to die, but also don't deserve to live in town among you anymore because they're a danger? Like Acosta, I feel like Acosta is the perfect example. Like, the severity of what she's done would be the perfect example of something like this. Yeah, banish her. Banish her to Cannibal Village, give her a talisman, and say she has to live out there by herself. I like it. I like it. It adds another option. You have the option of executing people in the box, but you also have an option of banishing people and exiling them out of the town if the town feels like they're not deserving of living in the town. And maybe it has to be something where the whole town has to vote on it. Maybe it's not something that only Boyd can decide. Like, the old town has to vote to banish this person or let them stay. But I love that as a punishment. I wish that's something that honestly, I wish that's something that they could have written into the show earlier on. Like, earlier on in season 1, when these kind of punishments were a little bit more severe, I would have loved to seen an aspect of this, like, written into the show, where one possible, you know, sentence is exile. I like that. I don't know. I like that. I think that's an interesting one, Blue. Exile her to Cannibal Village.
I don't think I like it. I like the idea of exile. Like, you cannot live with the community. You are a danger.
You've lost your right. Yeah. You've lost your right to live here because you're a danger to everybody. Yep.
Yeah, I like that idea. However, Cannibal Village is too necessary because it has the food.
It's their
Right
food
now,
source.
they are starving, and so I cannot trust her around the food source.
Ooh,
She is
the
not to be
cabin.
trusted.
The little cabin. The little cabin.
No, Jeremy, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah.
You're missing it. You're missing it, Jeremy. I'm very
Okay.
disappointed in you.
Hit me.
They've done this before. The bus. They did this to Randall. Randall was
You got to put the bus
deemed
like way out in the woods or something. The whole point is to get them out of town. Is to exile them from town. So they need to be out of town. So maybe if you like park the bus like super deep in the woods and exile them to that would work. Yeah. But the point is to get them out of town.
because Randall was deemed that description of somebody that commits a felony or a crime. They don't deserve the box, but they're also like kind of a danger. That was Randall. He was kidnapping,
Good point.
kidnapping Santa Claus. So, and they gave him a talisman and said, "This is what you get. You get to live out here, and the windows allow him to see the monsters."
And
so Acosta could use that.
That's very true. That is very true. And I almost forgot that Boyd tries to give Frank that option as well in season 1 before Boyd puts Frank. When Boyd is very conflicted as to whether or not he should put Frank in the box, he comes up with another option. He goes in, he hops into Frank's cell, he throws him a talisman, and he says, "Here, take this and go. You find some way to survive out there." And Frank says, "No, ultimately I want to die." He felt like he wanted to die because he failed his family. But yeah, Boyd at least did at one point have that option of, here, take a talisman and be exiled somewhere. But no, I like the bus idea. I like the idea of exiling him to the bus. Like you said, there's a precedent for it already because that is literally what happened to Randall. But I also like banishing them, like off into the woods. Like, hand them a talisman and a tent and say, "Here, do your best." Or even to the little shed out there if Cannibal Village is undoable because it is their food source. But no, I like the idea of banishment, though. I like the idea of banishment. I think that's fun.
It's hardcore. I think that the bus is a good idea.
The bus is
because
fun,
it serves two purposes. It's not only people that can be around others or that are not team players, but because there are no blinds, like Randall said, you get to really observe the monsters and all of their glory. Randall didn't believe that this was a real thing. He thought somebody is lying. There's a mole. This is not real. Acosta, that's what she's saying. I took you for your word. I don't really believe you. I just, maybe you guys are bad people and you deserve this. So it would be very valuable to her to sit at the bus, have no blinds where she can hide behind and observe this is real. It's not a joke. It's the truth. It's happening. If she wants to figure out, she says, I'm the one that's going to figure out how to get out of here. You guys don't try hard enough. She could observe them and see their routine and see what can you figure out. There it is. You want test subjects? You literally have them all around you. I
Yeah.
think that that could be useful for her. But
I think
yeah, it's definitely interesting. This is what I thought,
she
Jeremy.
still
When
doesn't
I
believe this place is as dangerous as it is. Like, it seems like that's the problem with Acosta. She hasn't quite seen it for herself. She's seen it a little bit, but it's almost like like you said, she needs like a full dose of being forced. There's no blinds on that bus. Like, you can't shut the windows. You're forced to watch everything that happens at night. So no, I love that idea, PM. I think that would probably, I mean, it worked with Randall. It seems like that is what got Randall to realize this place was super dangerous. So yeah, I think that could work with Acosta. Stick her in the bus for a few nights.
Yeah, but this is funny, what I thought when I was watching that. I was laughing because ever since she's wearing the hoodie, it's like she's playing a game of cop and robber all by herself. Because when she was a cop, she was all about, let's do an investigation of who killed Tilly. And like she's investigating people and she's like, I'm a cop, I'm the law. You can't do this, right? She wanted to give citations to people in front. But ever since she saw that hoodie, right? She looked at the hoodie, she puts on the hoodie, it's like she becomes the robber. She
Like
steals
yeah, she's the burglar. She's putting on her little burglar outfit. Yeah.
Yeah, she's playing cops and robbers all by herself. She steals the ambulance. She takes off with Christy. So kidnapping and stealing. She's putting people in danger. She's like leaving children behind. She's a bad girl, with the hoodie.
Okay.
If you ever see her in the hoodie, she's up to no good. If you see her in her
Breaking Bad.
uniform, she's
This is
straight
her
laced.
This is her Breaking Bad hoodie. Yeah, she means no good
Yeah.
when she puts on the hoodie. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. We also have Pink Bunny here for $5. Thank you so much, Pink Bunny, for $5. And I think this is very interesting. I think this is a very interesting take on what saving the children might actually mean. They're not saving the sacrificed children. They're saving the siblings that were looped to never die. Randall, Julie, Christy, Kenny, Marielle, Sarah, and Elgin. Now, one thing we have always wondered is, ever since we found out that Jade and Tabitha are reincarnations of two of the original parents, I think a lot of us have just naturally wondered, okay, are there other reincarnations? Is everybody that got pulled here into Fromville, are they all reincarnations or descendants of that original timeline of those original human settlers? Like, are the people that are getting stuck here, they're human descendants? And if not direct descendants, then maybe they're reincarnations. So I think that's an interesting idea, that maybe saving the children isn't exactly saving the children that already died, but saving their reincarnations, maybe saving their descendants. I think that's an interesting idea, Pink Bunny. I haven't thought of that. But again, I suppose it fits as much as anything else that we've heard.
Yes, Pink Bunny, I like it. I like the idea that you introduce and make my Sarah part of it.
Yeah.
Because then that means that all of the suffering that these people have gone through can pay off. They still can be redeemed. They still can come out of this. And so I like that you included my Sarah in that. And I would like that to be true. I think it's a very good theory.
I like this.
I'm also laughing because, Jeremy, the chat is saying, to be fair, you can't get too much on Acosta because Christy jumped in on her own. So she didn't kidnap Christy.
Very true.
Christy has a death
Very
wish.
true.
She is the
Very
doctor, the only town doctor that is like vital to the town. And she has a
Reckless.
death wish, dude.
Reckless.
Anytime that there's something dangerous to do, she's like, I'll do it. I'll go.
Yep.
She's trying to get killed. I generally think she's gonna die this season because she keeps doing stuff like this.
Reckless. You guys all make really good points. Absolutely. I mean, Christy did just jump in that fucking ambulance along with her. And yeah, I mean, I think as much as Christy was trying to do the right thing there and trying to talk Acosta down, like you said, PM, Christy needs to realize, like, okay, my life is a little bit more important than just my life because of what I mean to this town. Like, I'm literally the only doctor. So yes, I mean, if you're going to argue that if there's anyone that shouldn't be putting their life in danger, it's Christy. So no, yeah, you make a really good point. Very good point. She's very reckless at times. and maybe
And
doesn't
there's
realize how much this
Marielle.
place needs her.
There's Marielle as a second doctor. However, we
Well, a
know that
nurse.
she's not as solid, right?
No,
She's not as
yeah,
solid.
yeah.
Without Christy, she could go into deep grief and she might not be trusted,
You could
unfortunately. We've
relapse
seen that
again. Yeah,
she's taken their medicine supply. So she's not as solid as of now. But
yeah.
Christy's hopping around. She's hopping around in one leg and getting into all sorts of trouble. She like
Mhm.
jumped in there. Mariel was trying to like help her. She jumps in there, hopping around, closes the door, and she's like, I'm fine. Even Meryl is like, what are you doing right now? Like, there is absolutely no reason for you to be hopping around. Look at her. She still needs help. She's hopping around, but she has to be involved. Like, she
Yeah.
just has to be
She
involved.
just has to get involved in everything. I mean, she's getting brought on dangerous joyrides, getting her foot stuck in bear traps. Like Christy just can't help but find herself in dangerous situations. Yeah, she's got to be a little more careful. Got to be a little more careful, Christy. You are the doctor of this place. They need you. But no, I like that. I like the idea of maybe potentially not saving the children, but potentially maybe saving their descendants. Maybe that's what save the children means. Because again, like many of you have asked, how do you save children that are already freaking dead? I mean, the only thing I think a lot of us naturally maybe think that saving the children means saving their souls, like seeing that their souls are put to rest. Is that how you save the children, where they can ultimately move on from this in between life death state that they seem to be stuck in? Or yeah, is it more along the lines of saving their descendants, their reincarnations? Maybe, I don't know. I like it though. I think it's an interesting theory. Yeah, don't forget the haircut. Worst of all of Christy's injuries. This is true. Christy has suffered since she's been here, and ever since Marielle returned, Christy has suffered at the hands of Marielle and her scissors. But who knows? Yeah, she was a good hairstylist. Maybe Christy just wanted to get out to it. But no, I think that's an interesting take on it from all of you. Very interesting takes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the punishments, Acosta has really pretty blonde hair. They could cut it. Mariel can
Oh, that's
cut
so
as a
cool.
punishment, cut her pretty blonde hair,
Oh
and
man.
then you
Oh,
gather it, right? Human hair
oh,
extensions, you gather it and you tie it to Christy and
that's
give
sad.
her hair
Oh,
extensions.
that is savage. That is absolutely savage.
Christy gets the hair. See, they
Uh,
need me in from. I could whip up a hair extension for Christy in no time.
yeah. I hope we get to find out why some people heal super fast. And I hope we do as well. I mean, that was something that was pretty more of it. There was more of an emphasis on that in like the first two seasons. They haven't really discussed it much in season 3 or 4 yet. But that was very much something that they were kind of setting up earlier on, where certain characters were healing super fast and certain characters were not healing fast at all. Were taking a long time to heal. And at the beginning, it seemed like the characters that were healing fast were the ones that weren't out there looking for answers, the ones that weren't quote unquote pushing back, the ones that weren't quote unquote breaking the rules. And the ones that were looking for answers, like Jim, for instance, took way longer to heal. So at first I kind of thought it was maybe that was the reason as to why some people were healing quick and some weren't. When I looked at who was actually healing fast and who actually wasn't, that was the only kind of commonality I could find, is that the people that were healing fast, they all seemed to be people that weren't really out there looking for answers or breaking any rules. And the people that weren't healing fast were the ones that were out there looking for answers. So that was kind of what I thought at the beginning. But who knows? It could be something else. It could just be coincidence. But hopefully we find out.
I wonder about the level of pain. Sometimes I see Elgin and I feel badly for him. And then he acts out and he acts completely irrational. And I'm like, dude, Elgin, like you didn't learn anything. I'm trying to feel bad for you. I feel really badly for Elgin because he reminded me of how small he's supposed to represent a teenager, a very young adult. And when he is too afraid to show Christy his eye, it was so endearing to me because they're like, oh, she's going to help you. And he was like afraid to show her. It reminded me, oh my God, he looks like just a kid, a small kid. He's afraid, right, to even show her how bad this is.
Yeah.
And when Boyd tells him, come back inside for a minute. Elgin is like, come back. It's there. His little face. Look at his little face. Come back inside for a minute. That was so funny to me because he was so scared. But I was thinking about the level of pain and the healing aspect of it. I still would be screaming. He has no pain medicine. We haven't seen any be administered to him since that he was stitched up. I would be in bed screaming, ow, like the pain, because the pain doesn't go away immediately. As it's healing, you're going to feel that pain. He's walking around. He's totally fine. Right now, I would be making a huge deal. I would still be screaming. Everybody in Colony House would hear me. But maybe it's just, and I thought about this. I thought, of course, they can't have him just screaming and exhibiting the level of pain that this would be. We need to move the story along. He needs to be quiet. He needs to function. And another funny moment was when Boyd said, when they ask you, you're going to say that you got your eye taken or you lost your eye helping Fatima. Technically, he's not lying. Technically, he was helping Fatima.
He was. Technically, that is the truth. You're right. There is, if we're talking technical definition, he did lose his eye telling Sarah where Fatima is.
So you're helping right. Fatima. Yeah. And Boyd is like, when they ask, and they will ask, it was like, oh my God. He's scary, that Boyd. You don't want to be on his bad side.
You are right. We're seeing it, right? We're seeing different sides to Boyd already, even this early on in the season. Like we are seeing that Boyd that we saw in this episode was much more akin to like season 1 Boyd that wouldn't mind throwing somebody in the fucking box. So yeah, we are seeing that Boyd is getting closer and closer. Boyd is, I guess you could say Boyd is giving fewer and fewer fucks as the season goes on. Like he's getting to the point where he just gives no fucks anymore. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun to watch him kind of go down that path and to see like how long can he kind of keep it together, because he's fraying. The episode title was Fray. And again, we talked about that a lot when the episode titles first came out, that this episode title might be a callback, I guess you could say, to Father Cautry's line in season 1, when he says, the edges are beginning to fray. You're the only one that can keep it together, when he's talking to Boyd. And we're seeing Boyd is fraying along with this place. Like, it's not just this place that the edges are beginning to fray. Boyd himself is beginning to fray as well, just under the weight of everything that he has to deal with. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how Boyd continues to deal with that as the season goes on. Does he let it beat him, or does he find a way to kind of, come out on top like he always does? But he's going through it. Boyd is definitely going through it. You can see that.
I was actually very proud of Boyd in this episode. And I like the way that they are taking his character through falling apart, but not being a constant different Boyd than we know.
He's still capable.
And this is what I mean by it.
Yeah,
this is what I mean by that. Last episode, he was counting bullets. He was crying on his child's shoulder. He was saying there is no point. All we get to decide is how we leave. So that was last episode. That didn't last long. We see him, he's washing his face, he gets ready for the day, and he is hardcore, even more hardcore than he was. So he is refreshed. He wasn't falling apart this episode. This episode, he had a lot to deal with. Finding Jim's body, getting it together, that bag that was hanging from the motel sign. He had a whole lot to deal with, Elgin, and he was pretty solid. He wasn't falling apart. He wasn't questioning. What did he say? Okay, this is what you got. Work harder. He was really strong and solid. So I like the way that
Tabitha, when Tabitha's falling apart, he's right there for her, like you said.
Yeah, he was pretty solid, even more solid than he was in the finale, I would say. So we see him kind of be down for a minute, but he doesn't stay down for long. He's solid. I'm guessing that later on in the season, he's going to have an all hope is lost moment and kind of fall apart again, once again. But just like he falls apart, he gets right back up, because he was solid this episode. I was not worried for him.
He was solid. Again, even though you can tell like he's going through a lot, like you said, he's still capable of just being Boyd. just straight up being Boyd and being able to handle his business and keep people safe. And I think when Sophia crashed into town was another kind of instance of that. Like right in that moment, as soon as he sees that, everything else goes out the window and he's in, I got to help this person mode. He's in fish and loaves mode, even though 2 minutes before that, he's literally counting bullets to make sure that he has enough bullets for everybody in case they need to kill themselves. And then a minute later, boom, he's heroic Boyd, the hero that we always know. So yeah, you're right. Even though he's dealing with a lot and he is fraying a little bit, he is still Boyd, and he is still capable of being Boyd when the occasion calls for it. And hopefully that's something he never loses. That I'm hoping that's an aspect that he always holds on to. But yeah, he's going through it. He's going through it, but he's not letting it beat him, not yet. And I saw in this episode, you can definitely tell, like it's getting to him a little bit more. If we go to that scene when he's talking to Jade inside the bar, you see Boyd's hand. He's constantly grabbing his hand and like shaking his hand, like his hand and Parkinson's are getting worse. He's constantly holding on to his hand in this episode, I noticed. So he's feeling it. He's very much feeling it, but he's doing a very good job of keeping it under control and doing his duty as sheriff.
Wow, Jeremy, great attention to detail, because I didn't notice the hand.
Yeah,
at
he's
all.
grabbing it a lot in this episode, I saw. Yeah.
So
Especially
then
during that scene with Jade.
that explains it then. His renewed energy and his renewed attitude, it might be because of what you just stated. He's noticing that the Parkinson's, what he believes to be Parkinson's, is advancing, that it's way more
The
prominent.
time clock, yeah.
That's why he's saying work harder,
I don't have
work
much
harder,
time.
and
We
work
gotta do this.
faster.
We got to figure
That
out
is
this
why
thing
he's
first.
renewed.
I like it. I like it, PM.
Yeah,
I
so
like it.
he has this energy of, I don't care if it's possible or not. Let's say, right, he's not getting hung up on, no, maybe we shouldn't do anything because the kids might be lying. He's like, I don't have much time. Let's
I don't have
assume that
much
it
time
is, and
left.
let's work
We
harder.
gotta, yeah, we
Get
got to
it
do this
together.
now. Yeah, while I'm still able, while I'm still upright, we need to figure this out while I'm still able to help. Yeah, I
That's
think
why
that's
he's gonna do things that are even more dangerous. When
It's
Jade
gonna.
says,
Yep.
well, we could go down to the cases, and maybe even Boyd says, listen, you
Let's
and
go.
your charts is not gonna do anything.
Yep,
Let's go
yep.
down there. Let's go
Yep.
figure it out for ourselves. So
Yeah.
time is precious. I
Sense of
did not
urgency
notice
now.
that, but now that you mentioned that, if that is what's happening in the scene, then he is going to speed up the process of them finding the answers as to the Ankoi children, because he's in a hurry. That helps us too, because we want answers, right?
Yeah.
And I like it. I like that approach.
Yeah, I mean, if he's having this sense of urgency all of a sudden, or if he's believing that his time clock is speeding up and he has even less time, then yeah, it's definitely would be a reason why we're going to see him kind of like going full into this and trying to figure out these answers as quick as he can while he's still able to help. But that could also lead him into making some reckless decisions as well. When people are, are trying to rush, when people are not taking the time to really kind of survey what they're doing, if you have that just 24/7 sense of urgency, sometimes you tend to make mistakes. You tend to not see the full picture and you tend to make wrong decisions. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it. If he does have this sense of urgency that the Parkinson's is getting worse and he doesn't have a whole lot of time left, yes, he's definitely going to want answers a lot more urgently, but it could lead him to make a lot more mistakes as well if he's not careful. So I think that's could be a very interesting storyline for Boyd, and for an actor like Harold Perrineau to play a character that's struggling with something like that. He's going to kill those scenes.
Oh yeah. It's going to be really interesting. I like the attitude where he said, oh, knowledge comes with the cost. What the fuck does that mean? Like, I'm oblivious. I have no idea. He's really like kind of a meaner version of himself, but I like this attitude on Boyd. I think it's fitting.
Me too. But what I loved about that, and when he says that, like 2 seconds later, it's almost like he starts figuring it out, because then all of a sudden he remembers, if we try too hard, something will push back. He remembers the theory that Nathan had, and he's starting to put it all together. He's starting to look into more of the mystical realm for answers. And like you said, maybe another part of that, maybe a reason why his mind is now open to finding these kind of answers is because he's feeling that ticking time clock speed up a little bit. So now all of a sudden his mind is open to other possibilities he wasn't always open to. So yeah, I like that. I think that could be creating that sense of urgency for him. But we have Jessica here who says, what if one of the adults has to sacrifice themselves? Maybe that's why Christopher was freaking out. Ooh, interesting. Like one of the adults, maybe either Jade or Tabitha, even one of the reincarnations in particular, or just one of the adults in general. I mean, again, this show is literally built on child sacrifice. Like when we look at what started this whole story, when we look at what started all of this, it was built on child sacrifice. That is what kicked this whole thing off, on Kui children getting sacrificed. So what's to say some other kind of sacrifice isn't going to be the ultimate answer to all of this as well? So no, I think it's a possibility that we could see some other kind of sacrifice, some self-sacrifice that Boyd or someone else is going to have to make.
Yeah, I like the idea, Jessica, because I feel like the solution is the antithesis of what has happened. In order to provide the children with comfort, they were sacrificed by the whole town. Maybe the answer is now you sacrifice yourself for us. Show us that you love us, that we mean something, that our life mattered. And that is the ultimate show of love when you're saying, I'm willing to die for you. So perhaps that could have been why Christopher just kept saying that everything lies. And the boy in white seems to have told us he took an approach to Christopher where he was telling him more than he is these characters. He's hands off when it comes to our new Tabitha and Jade. With Christopher, it seems like he was having sit down conversations with him, which would be very useful.
Yeah.
But the idea that they had to sacrifice themselves, I mean, technically he died, so they did sacrifice themselves, right? And nothing happened.
Maybe.
Because both
Maybe.
of them died and nothing happened. They still reincarnated and went back to From. So it might be a numbers thing. It's not just one of them or the two of them. It might be the entire town.
All of them need to do it, maybe. Just like all of them chose to do the sacrifice the first time, all of them need to choose to sacrifice themselves this time to end it. I mean, if nothing else, it would be a very grim ending, but it would add a interesting kind of cosmic symmetry to it, where sacrifice began all of this, and now sacrifice is going to end all of this. But again, definitely a more of a bittersweet ending for sure. So the funeral will be the priest and Jim. The crows will show up when Sophia in yellow starts to do the eulogy. I'm thinking Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds. And again, the whole funeral thing is pretty interesting because, again, we still haven't seen what they did with Tilly's body. Tilly just got killed at the end of season 3. Her body is still presumably around somewhere. We haven't seen them bury her unless they buried her off screen, unless she had some kind of funeral that was off screen that was just not meant to be in the show. Yeah, I mean, it looks like these two bodies that we see in the trailer are now presumably, yes, the priest and Jim. So what the fuck? What happened to Tilly's funeral? They just skipped over it, I guess. She got an off-screen funeral. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the crows show up. And, the crows have been, kind of a big part of the show's kind of symbolism, more so than they've actually been a part of the story. Like, we haven't really seen the crows kind of be a part of the actual story really at all, other than the one time it kind of flies into Colony House right when they're getting ready to read the tarot cards. But other than that, we haven't seen a whole lot of crow action to give us like a really definitive answer as to what these crows are and what function they serve. But like you said, we did see in the trailer, the crows are going to show up to the funeral. So I guess it'll be interesting to see, what they do.
Yeah. Tilly's body might have been buried off scene. That's true.
Maybe.
But that's
yeah.
what the chat is saying, and I'm
It might have
guessing.
been.
But
It
I
might.
like the idea of the crows from Alfred Hitchcock because it does seem, and we talked about this with the previous seasons, they are using all of the tropes of horror. A puppet, right? So you have like the doll or a puppet, you have monsters, you have all of these things where they kind of put them in the show so that you could see, oh, that's something that generally they use in horror. The camera, the haunted camera that takes pictures that nobody knows where they're coming
These
from.
tropes.
It would be fitting. It would be
Mhm.
fitting for them to touch on that and to do the birds and have a scene where the birds are, the iconic scene where they're coming at people's heads.
Yeah,
Imagine.
yeah. attacking people left and right.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I mean, if nothing else, we would at least finally figure out that these crows are a little more malevolent, because there has been a lot of theory surrounding the crows as to what they are. Are they trying to help? Are they bad? Are they the monster? I remember during season 1, a big theory, like a huge theory that was going around, were that the crows were what the monsters took shape during the day. Like during the day, the monsters turned into crows, and at night they became monsters again. That was a big theory during season 1. Now that we know that the monsters are asleep during the day, we know that's not the case. But yeah, we don't really know much about the crows, but maybe we'll finally learn a little bit more about them. We got Katrina Marie here for another $5. Thank you so much, Katrina Marie. Very much appreciate that. I refuse to believe that they're burying Jim next to a stranger. Tien Shen was buried next to her husband. The Matthews need to be buried together. And I mean that's an interesting point. I mean, it does look like they are burying Jim right next to the priest. Now, yeah, I mean, if I was Tabitha, I mean, I suppose maybe you'd want your own little plot just in case your whole family spends the rest of their lives there. You want to bury them together. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it does look like Jim and the priest are getting buried next to each other. But then again, that's kind of where they bury everybody. Like, seems like everybody that dies always kind of gets buried in that plot. That's their cemetery, essentially. But I see what you mean. If nothing else.
I'll say this, Katrina, and I am totally with you. I refuse to accept how they're burying Jim, if that is his burial that we are seeing just out there. Tian Chang had a beautiful viewing and funeral.
Big
right?
ceremony. Yeah, true. Very true.
And Jim, my super cute Jim, I don't like how they're saying goodbye to him. And this is just me picky. I love the show. I love From. But I for sure thought I'm going to cry when Tabitha and the children have to say goodbye to Jim, or when they see him, right? The monologue that they wrote for Tabitha to say goodbye to Jim when she's seen him, that should have been very emotional, because she's seeing his dead body for the first time.
I did not like her.
It wasn't enough for me. I'm sorry, but she moved on too quickly. It was written in a way where, and I don't think it's her acting. I'm not criticizing her acting. It's just the writing of that monologue was just not enough. This is the love of your life, right? And she was saying, I thought about how I was going to tell you that I loved you since the first time I saw you. Yeah. Instead, it's like, tell him that, right? I thought about that. You have him there. These are the last words that you're going to say. Like, Jim, I hope that you know that I loved you since the first time I saw you. More screaming, more tears. I just wanted more drama than what she was giving. Because she kind of gives that monologue, I loved you since the first time. And then she says, I'm going to take care of the kids. We're going to be fine. It's like, damn, you came to, you got over that quickly.
It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel like this was the weight of someone that just lost the love of their life and the father of their children. Like you're right. It didn't quite have that weight. And maybe it was her performance mixed with the dialogue that they chose to write for that scene. But yes, I agree. It could have been done a little bit better with a little bit more of an emphasis on the emotional aspect rather than her coming off as bitter. She kind of comes across as bitter, like she's mad at you that you're dead. Like she's mad at Jim that he's dead. Yes. So yeah, I think they could have played that a little bit differently. Personally, it wasn't my favorite scene either. And it seems like the chat, people in the chat are agreeing with you as well. So not everybody liked that.
It just seems like she, to my point of view, what the hell do I know? But it seems like they wrote this monologue for her, and she could have added. We know that sometimes the actors add things. They feel that would go better with the scene. They get into it, they'll add something. It seems like she only delivered what was given to her, and there was no extra, feeling there. I couldn't tell that this was a couple of married people that loved each other. No, I couldn't. It could have been any person that a friend. This didn't come across as this is the love of her life, right? She didn't kiss him. She didn't grab him. She didn't do any of the things that somebody who is in love with somebody else and has their dead body would do, right? Yeah. The way that Julie screamed when she saw Men in Yellow kill her father, that guttural, no, I love that scream, by the way. That's what I expected from Tabitha. When she like falls apart, I expected this guttural scream that just makes you feel so bad. The way that she kind of just gets over it. Yes, I agree. She has to take care of their children and she has to move on. I expect that at the burial. This is the first time you're seeing him. You love him. It's your fault. He didn't come home. He was strung up. He looks, I couldn't even look at his face because he looks really realistic. It was getting to me the way that he looked. But Tabitha was
He did a
giving
good job.
nothing. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I love Tabitha. I love the actress, but I was like, yes, Tabby, give us nothing, Queen, because she's
Mhm.
crying a little, but then she's like, oh, take care of the kids. We'll be fine. The fact that the line is, we'll be fine. I was like,
We'll be
what?
fine.
You'll be fine. I'm not going to be fine without Jim. And he's not
Mhm.
my husband. I'm not going to be fine, but you're going to be fine. Wow, you moved on.
Mhm. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like a lot of people didn't like the Tabitha Jim scene. And again, I think it could have been a little more emotionally charged. I do. I think there could have been a few things that they could have done that could have tweaked this scene and made it come across a little more heartfelt, a little heavier. Because yeah, it didn't have that feeling, at least just for me personally. And I know some people might have really enjoyed it, and that's totally fine. But yeah, that's what's fun about diving into some of the stuff. I know some people in the chat were saying that a few of the acting performances in episode 2 just wasn't doing it for them, and that's totally fine. One thing we love talking about here on the show isn't just the things that we like about the show. We also like to dive into some of the things that we think could have been done a little bit better. There's nothing wrong with talking about certain aspects that we maybe didn't like, as long as we're being kind of constructive about it and just giving constructive criticism. Nothing wrong with that. So we always want to hear what you guys like, yes, but we want to hear what you guys didn't like as well. So yeah, I don't mind seeing. I like when we see comments like this. Like the Bearcat says, I feel like the acting for some of the characters in this episode was a huge miss, and sometimes that happens. I've even been in that position myself, where sometimes certain episodes, certain performances just don't land quite as good as others sometimes, and that just happens. In a long running TV series like this with so many hours of television, so many scenes, not every single one is going to hit it out of the park. So yeah, I think it's only natural that sometimes we're going to see some scenes that we just don't really like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And for me, this was one of those scenes. I wasn't a scene I was particularly fond of.
I just thought they would do something like for Tian Chang for Jim. He's one of our main characters. He's one of the main cast. He's from the Matthews family. And the creator said this story is all about the Matthews family, right? It starts with them. The Matthews family is very important. And I don't feel like they're giving him the respect that he needs. Like, I don't know. I just
Mhm.
thought I'm gonna cry because I've cried many a times when I've seen this show some episodes that are more difficult, like Ting Cheng's death. That was a
Mhm.
wonderful episode where Boyd really acted that grief.
Yeah.
And Kenny. I expected that Boyd grief in Tabitha, and it just didn't deliver.
Okay. No, I feel you. I definitely feel you. It's yeah, sometimes some scenes are hit and some scenes are missed for some people. Some people will like one scene and other people will hate that scene, and that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with criticizing the show a little bit here and there. Because yeah, nothing's perfect. Nothing is ever going to be 100% perfect. But overall, when we're looking at these first 2 episodes as a whole, I think the season is off to a good start. The small little nitpicks aside of some scenes that I think maybe could have been a little bit better, overall as a whole, I'm enjoying these first 2 episodes. I think the show is off to a pretty good start. I think episode 2 definitely did kind of set a little bit of that tone that Harold Perrineau was talking about in terms of going forward for the rest of the season. Now that Jim's body has been discovered, now that his death has been revealed, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of tone is the show going to take going forward. And I get the feeling they're going to start kicking things up a notch. Like, I get the feeling it's only going to continue to get more and more chaotic as the season goes on. This is just the beginning of it. When we look at all the stuff that we saw in the trailers, all the season 4 trailers that we got, just about all of those scenes it looks like that was only from the first half of the season. So if that's what the first half of the season is going to look like, and I know we said this yesterday, but I can only imagine what the second half of the season is going to look like. So I get the feeling from episode 3 on, we're going to see them just continuing to ramp up the danger, ramp up the tension as things get worse and worse for the people in Fromville, as Sophia continues to do her manipulation more and more and more. I think we're going to see them get closer to answers, and things precipitously get worse as they're getting those answers and getting just more and more dangerous. And I'm here for it. Again, I really hope that this is going to be that season that we've all been waiting for. And I think it will be. But from episode 3 on, I am definitely expecting the show to start taking an even darker turn. And maybe even we'll start to see some more characters get killed off. But overall, for episode 2 as a whole, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being horrible and 10 being perfect, I would give episode 2 a 7.5. I gave it a 7.5 on my initial review, and after seeing the episode a few more times, I haven't really moved it up, but I haven't really moved it down either. So 7.5 out of 10 for episode 2 for me. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. What is your rating on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being horrible, 10 being perfect? What rating do you give episode 2? PM, where are you at on a scale from 1 to 10?
I gave it an 8. I'm going to knock it down to a 7 because
Okay.
now on a second and third watch, I am finding myself surprised by the decision making of some characters. It's
Okay.
not really what they have established as a pattern. They're breaking some patterns, and I'm finding myself thinking, why would she say that? Why would he do that? Why would she react that way?
And worthy. Yeah, again, I think it's off to a good start. It's off to a pretty good start. And I'm looking forward to seeing where episode 3 is going to take us. But let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Frenchie Maple gives it a 6 out of 10. Decent score. Not great, not horrible. Decent score. So hey, nothing wrong with that. We got an 8 from Xavier. We got a bunch of 8s in the chat. Another 8, another 8, another 8. A lot of 8 out of 10s. Love it, love it, love it. We got a 7 from Ando. We got an 8.5 from Leo. We got a 6.8 from Kayla. Awesome. The scores are rolling in. A 7. Some lines felt out of character on this episode. And I'm with you there, Saba. Definitely 100% with you there as well. Just similar to what kind of PM was saying as well. Just some of the dialogue for some of the characters just wasn't very fitting for what we're accustomed to seeing, for some of these characters. And Tabitha is definitely one of those. We got an 8. We got a 4 from Pam Jam. Pam Jam did not like it. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with giving it a 4. We got a 5 from the Bear Kid. It was too slow like a part 1 of a two-parter. Too much of a setup, in my opinion. And this definitely was more of a setup episode, and I do agree with you there. Again, the reveal of Jim's body, putting all of these pieces into place, so episode 3 and beyond can probably pick up the storyline and go a little bit quicker. So yeah, every once in a while you're going to get some of these episodes that are a little bit more setup as opposed to plot progression. But yeah, hey, 5 out of 10, nothing wrong with that. We got another 5 out of 10. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Again, some episodes are going to hit with people and some episodes are not going to hit with people. And that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Solid 8. Episode 1 was a 9 for Tim. Okay. Awesome. Chill Frog gives it a 6 out of 10. Okay. We got an 8.5 from Bruins. We got another 8 from Nicole. We got a 7 from Chill. We got an 8 out of 10. We got a 7.5 out of 10 from Blue. Awesome. We got some more 7s hitting us. Awesome. A 6.7 from Kaiser, a 7.4 from Irish. Awesome stuff, guys. And a 7.5 from Big Heck. Love it. Yeah, again, 7.5 sounds good. 7.5 around that range. I think that's where this episode is. 7.5 out of 10 because they're starting to lose control internally, each of them. But that's what the Man in Yellow said they do. I mean, it is part of what's going to be happening, right? Absolutely. I mean, we knew that the Man in Yellow has turned into Sophia. We know that he has infiltrated the town, and he's going to be causing some chaos. Absolutely. We got a 9 out of 10. Awesome. We got another 6 out of 10. Awesome. We got a 9 out of 10. There's a lot to unpack. There was a lot to unpack. These first 2 episodes did have kind of a lot in them, for sure. To episode 1 was a 7, and episode 2 was an 8. Okay. Awesome. Love it. We got another 7 from Katie Joe. We got a 7 from Kelly. We got a 7 from Minerva. Awesome. We got a 7 from MF. Okay, so this is interesting. It seems like this episode, the scores are kind of scattered. Usually, for the most part, we get a lot of, usually between 7 and 10. But every once in a while, there will be an episode that some people just don't really like that much, and that's totally fine. So I like seeing the mix. I like seeing the mix of reviews that we're getting here in the chat. We're getting some people that did enjoy it, and we're getting some people that didn't really enjoy it. And that's great. Those always make for the best discussions. When you have everybody that just loves everything all the time, sometimes those discussions can get a little bit stale. But when you have sometimes this kind of mix of discussions, for me, sometimes that's what makes these streams, super fun. When we're seeing, both sides, people that are enjoying it and people that aren't enjoying it. So I like that. Keep that up, guys. Love seeing the scores. But that is going to do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when the stream ends, I am going to get over there and I'm going to record the episode 3 trailer, and I will be uploading it on the channel. I've been getting a lot of requests for that, but I had to wait for it to actually air on Sunday night. But I will be recording the episode 3 trailer, and I'll be uploading it on the channel pretty soon. So if you guys want to check that out, be on the lookout. That will be up hopefully within the next hour or so. But that is going to do it for us tonight. We will be back next week. Raven and I will be back Thursday with another episode 2 discussion and episode 3 preview and prediction stream as we look ahead to episode 3 and where the story is going to continue to take us. But again, big thank you to each and every one of you for coming and hanging out with us tonight. And of course, huge thank you to all of us who came and hung out with us last night as well. These watch parties have been hugely successful, and I just can't thank each and every one of you enough for that. They've been so fun to do. And I'm just super glad that From is back. So excited to see where this story is going to take us. But yeah, thank you. And of course, big thank you to PM. Great to have PM back with us this evening, diving into all this craziness. And you can catch her and I back right here next week, next Saturday, for our episode 3 live watch party and discussion. And if you guys haven't already, definitely get over there and give PM a sub. The link to her YouTube channel is in the description of the stream. Head over there, give her a sub, check out some of her From content, and she'll be doing some stuff on season 4 this season as well. But yeah, there we have it, folks. Episode 2 is in the books, and now we look ahead to episode 3.
Exactly. Now go and rush over there because I'm going to be refreshing your page so I could see what's coming up next, Jeremy.
Awesome.
I'm refreshing.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Episode 3 trailer coming soon. I'll be uploading it. I'll be uploading it up to my channel pretty soon. You can find PM's page down in the description, or right below you, actually. Kiwi Skirt has just thrown the link to her channel in the chat. So if you want to click on that link, that will take you to PM's channel, and you can give her a sub over there. And we appreciate it. We appreciate it. And thank you, Kiwi, for dropping the link.
Thank you.
But that is going to do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'll be getting that trailer up pretty soon. But until next time, stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. Keep those tinfoil hats on, folks. And we will see all of you on the next one. Cheers.
My blood is your blood now, motherfucker.